Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Please enjoy the show.
It's the corner where the Chiefs at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the war field.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Although the NFL season is done, there's still many games to be played between college basketball, NBA, NHL, and WNBA. There's always time to embrace your inner underdog. All you got to do is predict higher or lower on multiple different player statistics. If you've yet to download the Underdog app, do so now and get free cash. Click the link in the description or use promo code ChiefConcerns, one word, to claim your free pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So let's continue to keep the good vibes going into the spring season. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Tight End. I am Marcus Dash, and right there is our guy, former Chiefs tight end, Jason Dunn. JD, how the heck are you doing, buddy?
Oh, what's going on, Marcus? I'm doing well. I'm actually doing well, man. It was a beautiful day out here in Kentucky. Actually very hot. You know, went from we woke up, I think Sunday it was really kind of cooled down a little bit. And then all of a sudden, man, it went up to almost 90 today. And I was just like, summer's going to be here. Spring is definitely here. Just moving into that summer. And so I was excited because now I get to go outside, man, without my shirt on and, show my chest out a little bit and my muscles. So a little bit of that, my brother. So
That's
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well. How about yourself? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Just trying to get stuff done before the show. Got home from the gym, didn't have time to go shower and everything. I'll do it after the show.
Okay.
But
gotta get to work here.
Of course. You know how we do. Cut to the last minute. So we had our flag game yesterday. It was nice weather over here in DC. Usually Kentucky and DC we get similar weather. But yeah, dominated 49-22. Nice. Highlights haven't come out yet, but those will be dropping soon over the next few days. But yeah, and obviously draft stuff. It's been a really cool weekend for us. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new people joining the channel. People, seeing our hit rate on the draft. I think everyone was really interested in joining Chief because to see what we're all about, JD. I don't know if you guys saw it, but our hit rate was pretty good. So we did 45 players. We highlighted them before this draft, and the Chiefs drafted 7 of them and picked up 1 of them in Brinstool. That would be about 1 of every 5 people that we talked about the Chiefs selected, which is pretty good hit rate. I might have to say about 18% hit rate. So pretty good for not doing for just doing our first time ever doing this whole prospect thing that we did this year.
No, it was. Hey, listen, I told you. One thing I had to do was commend us for the hard work we put in to try to look at these guys and see exactly what they was able to give. I think we pretty much kind of know our team a lot because we are, very, very dedicated Chiefs fans. And so, we talk about this. This isn't just something like we just one day just wake up with. We talk about going through the entire season. We're grading every week, every single week when we come on the show. 4 times during the season. We're talking about everything that the Chiefs are going through, what we hear in the locker room, what guys are doing, things we might hear at practice. And then, of course, man, we get a little rumblings of what's going on in the organization here and there every once in a while. So it's always good. It's always good to have that. But, I think, man, that's stellar, to be able to hit that, what we did. And hopefully what that'll do is, like you said, it started, producing a lot more traffic coming our way, man. Just, I feel like we're one of, Chiefs Kingdom's best kept secret. When people kind of find out, like, man, where has this channel been? I'm like, man, we've been here. We've been kind of in the shadows a little bit, like, Mike Pennell said, as he kind of watches us. But we kind of been here. People kind of get hip to us. They kind of get over here. And so I like to believe that we're everybody's pot of gumbo, right? Like, what do you want to throw in? We got that taste for you. You know what I mean? If you like a little bit of shrimp here, maybe some Italian sausages, if you like some vegetables, we got all those different things for you. So
some jambalaya action.
Jambalaya, some nice, smorgasbord things people can feed on. And so if you don't get tired of us sitting over here running our mouth, obviously throwing a couple of jokes here and there, man, this is family. This is what this is. And so people that come in the chat, people that come into, at least the Chief Concerns, check us out on the pod. Y'all become part of us. Y'all become our family. That's how we do. We link arms and hook up. That's the way it works, man, especially for us. That's our philosophy. And so when you come over here and you come through, hey, man, you are part of our group. You're part of our people, man. That's the way it works. So lovers, haters, it don't even matter, man. We bring you all through. Come on in, baby. Come on in.
And with that too, obviously you being, former Chiefs player, we have a good relationship with a lot of former players, and we got a good establishment with a lot of the dudes on the team and guys who may have left the team since we've talked to them, like the Cornell Pals of the world, and like a couple weeks ago we had Mike Pinnell on. This week on Wednesday, we got Fabian Lovett's coming on. So like, it's kind of the best of both worlds. You're getting the old school mixed with the new school, and it's pretty cool to have. And I don't think, I'm not trying to knock any other channels. I don't think a lot of channels have that.
Yeah.
We do. We are the only ones that do have that. So, you get a nice mix of old school and new school on the Chief Concerns channel.
Absolutely. And
it's takes too.
Yeah. Well, look, it's never a diss to anybody else, right? And one thing we do is we try to promote other podcasts and people out here, because there's people that shown us love, and we do the exact same thing. I retweet a lot of different people's stuff. You know what I mean? And so I think it's very important that, people come in and get a diversity of like taste and things that they see, maybe what they want to hear. I think it's very important. But one thing I don't think you'll necessarily get from us is, we're not going to be the doom and gloom type of channel. That's not who we are. We're just not going to dump on guys just because of it. One, because I play the game. I know exactly how it feels. I know exactly what the locker room is. And two, we're going to have some respect for it. We're going to give you a nice, honest kind of opinion or a commentary about what we feel like, the direction the team may be going, or just kind of give you, like I said, pulling the curtains back of what it looks like actually in an organization or in the NFL, in a locker room, on the field. So I think we do have that particular thing to us that I think people enjoy. Shout out to my guy, man, that just sit there and said, what's up in South Jersey? South Jersey in the house. Love you, Dunn. Love you back, my brother. J1099, one of my faves. Well, say, man, salute to you, man. Much respect to you, brother. Same here, man. Appreciate you so much for coming in. Let me say what's up to everybody in here as well, man. Matter of fact, and then all of a sudden I'm going to stop running my mouth and let Tej come in, because I know Tej got something good for us. So J10 now is in here in the house. Drew Boucher, what's going on? Pole boy Jambalaya. Yes, sir, Drew. Mike Brennan is in the house. What's up, Mike? Pono Kawhi. Pono's in here already. Pono, I know you got some good questions for us. Hannah, how you doing? Hannah said, Royals say you didn't know about KC Royals. Wait until he finds out that Patrick Mahomes has a little interest in them. Hello, everyone. How you doing, Hannah? Good to hear you. Absolutely, he does. That is something that we will talk about. He's going to get that affiliation with his name a lot, just being over out in Kansas City. So that's going to be a good thing. He might get tired of it for a while, but he'll be all right. Jeremiah de Muertos, how you doing? I'm the Brown. What's up? I'm the Brown. Hearts and Roses in the house. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Rob Miller is in here. A+ draft. I agree with you 1,000%. Is here as well. Let me see who else we got in here, man. So we're just gonna keep this thing going and whatnot. But let's say what's up to our brother over here on the other side and just walked into the room. What's up, Tej?
What's up,
man?
Still feeling the draft hangover.
It did feel that way. I was pretty exhausted. I was exhausted on Sunday after our flag game. I was so run down. I felt like after all the streams we've done.
I felt sore. I was telling my wife, she was like, I was like a podcast. She goes, about what? I was like, well, about the draft. She goes, what the hell was the last 3 days for? I was like, well, no, this is to recap the last 3 days. So not everyone gets it, but it's all right. Well, you got to put it all in perspective now. You did it. Now you got to talk about doing it.
Yeah. Susan said the exact same thing. She said, "What are you doing?" She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "We're talking about the draft." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "You just did it for like the last 3 or 4 days." So,
Yeah.
I'm going to get back up here to Sweetie because she's like, you give me too much time to this now. Me, I want time. Me, I got it. I'm like, hey, I get it. I got to sleep with you at night. I got to live with you. So,
Baby, you're my franchise.
That's right.
You're my franchise left tackle and quarterback. Wrapped in
That's
one.
right. That's right. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Seeing a lot of nice comments here. Niall, I discovered this channel during the draft. I used to listen to other Kansas City Chiefs podcasts and channels and couldn't believe how good the coverage and insights is here on Concerns. Top notch. Appreciate you, Niall. Welcome to the channel, buddy.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it now, man. And now do us a favor too. Hey, throw us some commentary and all of that, man. We try to get to everybody over here in the comments. Sometimes it's be rolling, and if people notice, I'll call everybody's name out. I love doing that. Just kind of, just kind of a nod and an appreciation, saying, "Hey, what's up? You in the room, part of the family, coming in," and I enjoy it. I enjoy hearing people's different opinions.
We do have a new addition tonight. So I was doing a little research. I feel like the people who give us super chats, I feel like they need a little bit more juice and another. So there's going to be a surprise sound effect whenever we do get a super chat to come in the chat tonight. So whenever we get the super chat, there's gonna be a little surprise going there. So whoever wants to be the first to test it out, we can give a test run with it. But yeah, we're gonna be the surprise sound effect.
What do you mean super chat? What do you mean?
So when people contribute to the podcast, when they give us like $2 or $3, whatever, we're gonna have a little surprise, little ring a ding when we get them from now on. Just to just throw them a little bit. Hey, we got you. We see that.
Okay. Sure. Well, hey, listen. Hey, look, we show love anyway.
No, exactly.
We always show love.
Give it a little extra.
I got you.
A little extra.
A little extra elbow greased.
Yeah.
3 more miles per hour on it.
And there we go, testing it right there. Our guy Amda Brown with the first one to give us the. There you go, Amda.
Love it. Amda Brown. Appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Another one.
I like sound effects.
Well,
with this, and we'll eventually get JD's closeout music. We'll have that at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. So I start thinking that's the child bell. So start looking around like, hey,
cowbell. Yeah. What we need is more.
More cowbell. More cowbell. There you go, Drew.
More cowbell. Yeah. That was good. Let me see.
I got a fever.
Andre Chenault. So yeah, got closing time music for JD. Closing time. Yeah.
So obviously with tonight, we've done the draft stuff for the last 3 days. Reacted to all the picks. Now that we've had time to kind of digest, some time to digest, about 48 hours. We're gonna kind of dive into each pick and kind of give a grade to it. We did a grade show last year. The first time we did the grade. Actually, no, 2 years ago is when we started doing grades on it. And that's, it's encompassing everything from need as far as best player available and as far as, value of the pick. It's kind of encompassing all. I do think we're not going to have a lot of differences here based on what I know about each of these guys. I think everyone's going to be kind of on the same page as far as letter grades, but I'm not going to speak for any of these guys. But we'll kind of dive in with that. And, of course, we'll have some sound bites from our director of scouting, Ryan Nutt. It's interesting. His name's Ryan Nutt, right? But if you go on Google and type in his name, there's a video of Kansas City Chiefs from 2 years ago where they actually call him Ryan Nutt. It's like, geez, like you would think the employer would get his name right. Which is kind of nuts. But
yeah, kind of nuts.
There you go. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Your head, huh? Is that what you're doing? You're trying to test me to see if I'm awake?
Yeah. I love it. Your head goes directly to the puns.
Dude, I mean, are you kidding me? Don't tease me.
Yeah, GP, kind of nuts. There you go. All right, so we'll begin with, obviously, first pick. We'll go from first pick down to our last pick of the draft. Then, of course, if you guys are just getting into the chat right now, Wednesday night, JD and I will be hosting Fabian Lovett, second-year defensive tackle from Florida State, who will be probably get some good looks this year as far as playing time. So we'll talk to him Wednesday night. So be here 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time. Or Eastern Standard Time, sorry. Okay, so Josh Simmons. So our first pick with 32, we get Josh Simmons in this amazing, we didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. JD, Teja, what were your guys' grades on Josh Simmons?
For me, once I started watching this guy, just talking about his ability, what he was able to do, also to the value that he brings to the team. And so we understand that Jalen Moore had came here. We got him on a 2-year contract, it was great. The thing is, we wanted to make sure we had somebody for the future. So the 2-year contract is only going to give you that. So if the guy doesn't work out, then what happens? And I'm saying he's not. I think Jalen Moore is a very capable left tackle. Okay, and that's the reason we went and got him. He did a great job when he was out there at San Fran. But what we've seen in this draft was the talent of a Josh Simmons. It was one thing I just felt we just couldn't pass up. We just couldn't. Just his athletic ability, his type of power that he has, him able to get up the field. We kind of talking about it a little bit later, but also too, man, when I told you about how his pass set, how silky smooth he was out in space, going up to the next level, like tracking down linebackers. To me, man, it just made sense to have a guy like this. Now, of course, he got pushed back because of his knee. And Pono, I want you to watch this because Pono was sitting there saying he wasn't really too thrilled about Josh Simmons. But Pono, check it out now, okay? Just kind of watch it. You just have to listen. Josh Simmons arguably was one of the best tackles in the past couple of years. And so they were talking about this. They were talking about this guy. And it just was a setback of his knee. And I'm so happy that he felt was. I told that to somebody on Twitter today. But I believe that the Chiefs did a great evaluation, especially to see what his knee was at. This guy would have been a top 10 pick. Easy, if he hadn't gotten hurt. He falls to us. We get him. We pick him up. Our value that we have in him, he can play both left and right, but he's going to be left tackle for us in the future for the next foreseeable future. That's what we like. I like this. That value, I think, is an A, Marcus. That's my grade for him.
It's a pretty easy A. I can't give it any other grade. It's funny. I heard someone say he graded a B, but an incomplete because he didn't play enough. But it's like they're all incomplete. Like even if they played the entire season, it's incomplete. You don't know how they're going to play in the NFL. So it's all that's a ridiculous thing to say. You're really grading all of this on potential, right? So potentially it's an A. Anytime you could say this guy would have been a top 5 pick if not for blank. I mean, to get that same guy at 32 is just it's a great pick. It's the only pick to make, really. I mean, it was very. That's why every single mock draft when they mocked him to us, it was saying, crazy the draft's going to break this way. That they'll get a guy that they've been looking for the past however many years, just because of circumstance, because other teams can't afford to do this, right? Like teams need a guy to start right now. And they don't have the time or the setup to wait. And I think we were just really fortunate to be in that situation to have a temporary guy at right tackle who's probably gone after next season because of a huge cap number. And then another guy who, is also, if we're going to grade incompletes, Jalen Moore is kind of incomplete. He's played 5 games. Jalen Moore is kind of like the NFL version of Simmons, but didn't look dominant. So, I mean, think of it that way. They both played almost the same amount of games last season, started the same amount of games last year, except one, killed it and one filled in adequately. He looked good. He looked good enough, right? But in the league, good enough is good enough to be a starter at left tackle. So I just think it worked out perfectly for us. And for this grade and all the grades, I'm going to grade it as far as where we drafted him, where he went, potential, and I think filling our need. And I think it nails all of those, right? So you have to just give it an A.
Yeah, I want to address some of the comments I think that Marcus was putting up there before, and I agree with you. Like you said, anytime you got somebody who was going to be a top 5 pick and it gets to us, we take him? And it had to be like there's something onto it, right? And because of this, there was a reason. I think Pono was sitting there saying that, hey, he's only one twist from, hey, Jason, I get it about the doctor's approval, but the fact is that tendon is now compromised. One wrong twist and he's done. Well, that's with any football player. I'm just going to tell you that's how it works in the NFL. They felt like it was structurally sound. The doctors did their due diligence to make sure that what they felt like he was ahead of schedule. Like Mike Brennan said, it's the same thing I kind of heard. Matter of fact, Andy said that he's ahead of the game, that you might see him during training camp for sure. He could probably play before then. And so they said because of the patella tendon, the injury uses about 6 months as opposed to the difference between the ACL. He's able, man, that he's done everything he needs to do to get back on the field. But like Mike says also too, no need to rush it. We got a guy that's there. But Josh Simmons can absolutely come in by the start of the season and possibly play and be a starter. He could play. He could really, truly do that. He truly could. But when you talk about his athletic ability, I think there was no other guy for me, at least in this draft, that was like really, when I'm telling you, NFL ready. That's what I meant. A lot of it had to do with his pass sets. A lot of it was him moving up to the second level. A lot had to do with his ability to take on, like meshing with his guard double teams and moving on up. He just seems so seamless of a guy that you just plug and play immediately right now. And it was like that whole caveat, like you said, Tej, if it wasn't for this, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing. But as far as how they felt, they went through the full evaluation. So it ain't just me. It's the Chiefs that's made this decision to put a whole lot of money into this guy. And I think another thing that somebody said, I think Nohl said this, is why not wait for another year? If Simmons stayed for another year at OSU, he could have been top 5 next year. With NIL and top 5 guaranteed money next year, why not stay for one more? Well, because he already had one injury. There was no need to do that. And NIL money is nothing compared to NFL money. And so if a guy has an ability to go up there to the NFL and go play, and he was a first-round pick, there's no need to stay another year to do that. You just can't compare money for one. Number two, your dream is not to play in college and just earn a little bit of money. Yours is to go play in the NFL, the highest possible experience that you could do as a football player. That's it. That's the Mecca. That's the elite. And he wants to go up there and go against those guys. So that's the reason. You don't want to, he's already had one injury. There's no sense doing that. Go on up there to the highest level. He wants to go compete against those guys. And so that makes a whole lot of sense just to do that. So no, don't waste a year. What do you think, Tej?
I agree. I think it. You can make an argument that it shows confidence in his ability either way. If he thinks he can go back to school and just come back and be a top 5 pick next year, he also shows confidence by saying, "Whatever, I'll prove it in an NFL contract." So you can make an argument either way for that one. Really, I like that because the quicker he gets through it now, the quicker he gets through his next contract. A really good left tackle is going to get pretty much contracts till they're in like their early mid-30s, if they can last that long. I'm not so many of these guys have had injuries. We just didn't know about them because they weren't recent and during the draft. But there are a lot of guys with torn ACLs, torn MCLs, like a lot of guys with injuries in this draft that, we didn't have any problem drafting at all. We wouldn't have a problem. I would have drafted other guys later on if they were available. I don't mind that. I like the discount. I think the discount's great. If you're telling me we get a top 5 player because he might not be totally healthy to start the season, even if they say he is, but even if he isn't, we've already prepared for that. We signed more accordingly, and we have one more year with Taylor. So, like I said before, he just worked out so perfectly. If you do have to sit him for a year, we're built for that already. And if we're not, and if Taylor or Moore have problems, then we have one of the more fortunate situations to have that you can be in, right, for a team to have 3 capable tackles ready to play right now.
And I think the crazy thing is too, right? Like it seemed like the injury wasn't the reason why teams are passing on him, right? They talked about the immaturity that he has. In fact, the fact that the doctors, everyone said he should be ready by training camp, and we don't need to rush him by any means. But if he's ready, he'll play. But like the immaturity is the reason why he lasts this long. And for a team and you guys, we talked about this before the last like 2 drafts. We would get to the end of the first round, and literally every offensive tackle was gone. Like to take an offensive tackle at 32 or 31, wherever we were picking, it was going to be a reach. So we weren't even doing that. So we traded a late first to get Orlando Brown because we knew there was going to be no first round tackles at our spot. And the fact that everything kind of stars aligned perfectly where he was able to be there at this spot, just wild. I mean, hit or miss. Some mock drafts had us getting him. Some mock drafts, Josh Simmons was going in the top 15 or top 20. We weren't getting him. So, the fact that we were able to get him, and not only he was there 31, we were able to recoup a 5th-round pick in the process while getting him, too, I think adds to that. And, yeah, I'm right there with you guys. A+ for me, I think. And now, too, right, if the injury is healing as all the doctors indicate and all the sources before the draft said, we're talking about a franchise left tackle because this is a top 10 guy. This is what people talk about, a franchise left tackle. This is it. To get him at 32 and to not worry about this position for the next 10 years, that's a godsend. That's amazing.
Tackle 1.
Yeah.
Tackle 1. It's the only way you're going to get tackle 1 in a draft because we're not trading 6 first-rounders to move up to the top 5. So this is it.
And that's really, it. And to me, it's like, my question was, definitely the injury. It was never his ability. As far as ability-wise, I think he was head and shoulders above everybody else. So the other guys like Connerly and those guys, to me, I was more concerned about them just ability-wise playing on this level from day one than I was with him. His was all about the knee, period. That's it. And Omarr Brown asked his question, at what point in the process did the NFL and the team's doctors evaluate a draft pick? So I'll tell you this is how it works. When you go to teams on this evaluation for the 30 or whatever, they poke and prod you to death. And I'm telling you, I had a torn meniscus in college, and they knew all about it. So they go through all of it. Heck, if you scraped your knee in 5th grade, they gonna know. Okay, all right, that's how it works. But they come in and they pull, they tug, they twist. They throw it through every single test that they possibly can without trying to, without hurting you to at least your comfort level, right? And sometimes I had to tell teams hey, man, that's enough. That's too much. But they're checking. I'm telling you, that evaluation, man, is they're going to do extensively the evaluation on a guy. And they want to see how the knee, how it responds. So if there's any other swelling or you walking up limping and stuff like that, that's a problem. Matter of fact, that there's been teams that players have actually, I think, went after to, almost sue, litigation about man, look, you pulled on my knee a little bit too much, and you didn't have to do that. So I'm telling you, man, they do sometimes a little bit too much, Omarr Brown. But if they've done that, and they poked and prodded and pulled and did everything they possibly need to do and talked to every doctor that they needed to talk about. And Andy had another guy, Brandon Graham, that was up in Philly who went through this exact same thing, who still played at high level. They knew, okay, and they were happy with it. They were fine and said, okay, we're going to go with this guy. So,
yeah.
What's interesting too is because it is a bad injury, and there are some pretty bad stats around guys playing afterwards, but that's a little skewed because what are we talking about? Like a 5th-year player doing that happening to him? I mean, the NFL just doesn't really sit on injured players anyway. So if you're injured and you can't play, you're probably gone unless you're an elite player, right? They're not going to just wait for you for that long. You're usually going to be gone, right? Yeah. But if you look at the players who have the big name guys, they're all pretty there are a lot of skill position and explosive necessary, like running back, linebacker, tight end, receiver, linebacker, cornerback. That's not the same as tackle. Those guys need to sustain 4.4 speed, 4.3 speed to be good at their position for the most part. They need to have that explosive speed to them. You don't really need that to have a left tackle, unless you just can't play at all. But if it slows you down a step, what's that really going to mean for a left tackle? I mean, he's got an amazing technique. He's got quick feet. I mean, a knee injury is not going to, even if let's say he's 90% of what he was as far as knee goes. I don't know how much that's going to stop a left tackle from doing his job. I really don't know how much it's going to impact him.
Well, the patella definitely it will impact him, because you're starting to stop force. You stop a lot of power. And I think that's what they're really concerned about. And you're right, you don't need that explosion as far as speed wise, but as far as like pushing off and all those different things, anchor would be the concern. And that's actually a good question. Like when you say that, how of the like how it is skewed. Because sometimes some of these evaluations, they were done for a long time. They were saying 2013, 14, and 15, like getting some of this information back. But some of the guys that they saw was able to do those things, still played at a high level. So this is kind of, when you look at it, Brandon Graham, right? Brandon Graham is a guy that's going to push and tug, like you said. Tej, that's somebody that he's coming off and he's pushing. This is power. That's his and he still played at a high level. So I think as long as they let this guy heal, man, as long as they let him heal, don't have to rush it. You got a guy there, he's going to be fine. So Chase Young is an example. He disappeared out of his knee injuries. He's going to go back to normal. But Chase Young was, I think he had ACL. There was a couple things that he had that was wrong with him. This guy's young. He's 22 years old. He's young. Hopefully he heals up.
I found one. Jack Conklin, the tackle.
Okay. What did they say about him?
He tore his patella tendon. He played 100% of the snaps the following year.
Oh, shoot.
When Jimmy Graham did it, he played 15 to 16 games and had 65, 920, and 6 touchdowns. Some of the other guys, again, Cadillac Williams, he tore his other one the next year, which is, that's awful. Like, first of all, that's like, I want to cry for him. But
yeah,
that's just a total freak thing. He did 2 in 2 years. That's different, right? It's not recapturing what you were. That's another injury on top of it.
Yeah, and Chase Young ruptured his patella tendon while also tearing his ACL. Totally different recovery for that. That's too severe.
That's like blowing up your knee almost.
That's
right?
awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's look, everyone's different. Everybody's different, and the fact that he's already testing well and they're already saying it looks good for him to go to training camp, that's a great sign. I think I read Victor Cruz needed another surgery on it before he came back and played. So I feel like the recovery process and every milestone along the way for these guys, we're not doctors, but I feel like they're all really important, and it sounds like he's checking the boxes already. So I think if there were any cause for concern, I think if a doctor is like, he's not healing the way we want him to heal. That's not even saying he won't heal, but if I feel like if a specialist told the Chiefs that, they probably wouldn't have drafted him. Even it's okay. It's not healing as fast as we'd like, but there's still a good chance he could do it. They might be like, you know what? I don't like hearing that. No, we're good. We'll figure it out. But it sounds really good off the bat. And that's just not the Chiefs. That was a report I read before we drafted him. Teams liked his medicals. They said his medicals would look good. That wasn't a reason for anything.
Yeah, the immaturity was outweighing the injury, which was interesting because
great.
He's a kid, for crying out loud. Of course, he's immature,
But that was dispelled too. I think they just kind of got rid of that. And they was like, okay, yeah, ain't no big deal. But I tell you what we will do. I got a couple of horseshoes. I'll go out and try to find a 4-leaf clover, a couple of rabbit's foots. Okay, we're putting a lot of prayer into this. That he's going to be fine. Okay, as long as we do this and take the time for him to get well, I think he's going to be all right. Yeah. And the thing is, they felt like it was a chance they needed to take on a guy like that. So that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot.
And we actually have the film of our head scout talking about Josh Simmons.
Good. Hey, I got a couple of things for you. Start you off with a Josh Simmons question. Taking the injury out of it for a second, just what he put on tape before the injury. How does he rank as a tackle prospect? Not just this year. How did you guys have him rank? Not just this year, but maybe going back a few years. Where's his standing and all that?
Yeah. So Josh is, I'm gonna say Josh is one of the better tackles in this draft class. I would give him, you could make your case for the best, but he's definitely in the top 3 in this draft class in terms of what he provides. The only difference maybe between him and some of the other guys is, he started 2 years, and some of these other guys like the LSU kid, I think, started more, and you can say experience and stuff like that. But Josh is physically, he is elite. I mean, he is big, he's strong, his feet jump off the tape. When you put this tape on, his set is as pretty as it looks now in terms of offensive line pass setting. He got better every year. His first year at Ohio State, he flipped to left side, and now from the right side the year prior. And I think it just took him a little time to adjust to just everything, like a new playbook, a new surrounding, a new position, essentially. It's not as easy as people think going from the right side to the left side. There is a big difference, and sometimes it just takes people a little longer. And I think that was the case with Josh. This last year, I mean, you can watch those 6 games, and it's not unfair to say he was the best tackle up to that point. It stinks he got injured because I do think. I guess it's good for us because we got him, and that's the only way we would have gotten him. Because that kid, he was a top 20 pick. So it stinks for the kid. It hurt him on his wallet and the money, but things happen for a reason, and it's kind of not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think just the setup here that we have with Coach Reed and Coach Heck is going to be great for this kid. In terms of years past, I would say Josh, when he was healthy at this tape would be one of the better ones in the last few years. He kind of reminds me of Christian Darrisaw, who's done really well for the Vikings. He's got a little bit of Slater in him, who plays for the Chargers. The kid's arms are longer than I think people think. The combine measured him at 33, but his pro day are 34 1/8, and I think that's closer to what we kind of had. I think we had around 34 when we brought him in. So, the kid is super talented and super willing to work, and we're excited to have him where we got him.
I think the measurement thing's hilarious. I think that's 3 different measurements for the same guy. Like, how's that? I keep hearing that. Like, I measure this day. That's not the 40. It's a friggin' measurement. Like, my feet are size 12, whether I get them measured on Wednesday or whether I get them measured on Sunday. Like, I don't get that.
Yeah, they was using different guys. That's what they were saying. They had a new guy that was doing the measuring, and that's why it's not consistent. That's what he was asking for, like consistency on it.
So weird.
Yeah, but I mean, but what he was saying, I mean, that right there, okay, is Ryan Nutt. That is our chief director of player personnel, college scouting. Too. Yep, he's over there in the entire thing. They did a deep dive into him, and what you heard about it was how great he was in his pass sets. Talk about his athletic, the most athletic tackle that was out there. He said top 3. You can argue he was number 1, but he was definitely top 3. Getting somebody like this at a top 20 pick, you get him at 32. I mean, you can't beat it. He said it was unfortunate, but we was able to have it. I mean, this is their evaluation. I mean, shoot, what we gonna say on something like that? So, and they loved everything about him. So,
yeah. Steal and like he said right there, blessing and a curse, right? Sucks for the kid. He could have gotten a lot more money being a top 10 pick, but it allowed us to get him where we got him. So, solved our left tackle woes. All right, so our next guy is Omarr Norman-Lott. He was a tackle from Tennessee that Teja and JD were both really pumped about. We talked about him a few times on the pre-draft shows. We selected him in our mock draft in the second round. So, guys, what were your grades on that? So we went a clean sweep of A's with Josh Simmons. Where are you guys going with your grades for Omarr Norman-Lott?
Well, I tell you what, I liked him a lot when we were going through, always doing the mock drafts. He was always available. I could never get past this guy. Could never get past him. Anytime they were sitting there trying to get one guy through, or if I was taking somebody else, maybe like what's his name of
Collins,
Pierce, or somebody else, or Nolan, somebody. He would always be like right there in that area for the second pick for us, and you couldn't pass him up because of his rating. And so when you watch him on film, you can see his explosiveness. You can see his quickness of his feet. You can see how he strikes with his hands. He's a player, man. He's an absolute player. He's so much of a playmaker that a guy that was in a rotational system with a number of guys that was out there, they picked him as a second pick. That says a lot. And when they sit there talking about like his reps and stuff like that, it's all about the quality of reps. What are you doing with it when you have it? So when he's sitting over here and he comes out and, you know, he's just blowing up guys in the backfield, and I'm talking about he's a pass rusher. That's what we needed from the inside. We're talking about somebody that was going to be Chris's, you know, Robin to his Batman, okay? And there's a lot of talented guys that we have on the D-line. But we lost Turk Warren. We lost Turk, okay? We needed to kind of replace something like that. Mike Pennell's going to be the guy that's going to smash everybody in the middle, toss all the guys, stop the run. We've seen him knock down, Big Williams on his tail. We know Big Mike's going to be able to do those things. Same thing with Menahu and all those different guys that we got. Hey, but this guy right here, young dude, he's going to come in and get some reps, and he's going to make some noise. He's going to blow some things up, man. He's very violent. I love how he plays. For me, I gave this I gave it a B+. I was going to give it a B, but I'm giving it a B+ really for what we gave. Now, he's not the biggest of guys, Marcus. He's not, okay? And there's some probably might be a little knock on it because, you know, you might want a dude that has kind of the body type of a Chris Jones. But for me, for what he gives and the value that he gives to this team, I'm going to go ahead and give him a B+, man.
All right. Surprised. I thought you were going to go A there, but Tej, where are you going with this one?
I'm going B+ as well. I think this is probably our more boom bust pick, not injury related, because I mean obviously Simmons has his drawbacks and concerns, but I think this is much more injury. I think Simmons, if he's healthy, no one's questioning how good he's going to be. Sky's the limit. I think as far as play on the field and output, I think ONL, as people call him, is the bigger home run strikeout pick for us, just because he just didn't play a lot. But I know that. So when you get the boomer bust, you get a sticking point with somebody, and then you get like the argument for and the argument against, right? Argument for, everyone's saying that's a Tennessee thing. It's not a Lott thing. Pierce was strung up by the same issues that Lott. They had 3 levels of rotations on the Tennessee D line, like 3 sets. So they did that. They did the hockey substitution. So they had a lot of you guys out, you guys out. They just want people fresh all the time, and good for them. It's a great. If you're deep enough, shit, run it. I mean, that's great for you, right? Yeah. I think we're trying to get that way. Actually, was the funny thing. I think we like to do that. We got a lot of guys now. I think that's great for them. It slows down the production of the player, and then people. That's too easy here of an explanation. So people want to start to look at character concerns, which maturity, which is funny because he's someone I never heard a character concern about. I watch a lot of those shows. I never heard that about him until he was drafted, and then all of a sudden they come out. I'm like, wait a minute. I never heard that once. I heard he had character concerns, and then he didn't get into it. McShay said there were a lot of funny stories about him at the combine. He said he's a character. He didn't get into it, but that's funny. I love to hear that. What I think we wanted, the other part is just the lack of run snaps yet against the run. I think that's the more like sketchy thing to me, not because I don't think he can do it, because again, the counter argument to that is, well, it's not that he can't do it, it's that they didn't ask him to do it. Okay, that's fine. But at the end of the day, he didn't do it a lot. So like whether he can or can't, he's still now going to have to pretty much play the majority of his run defense snaps in the NFL now. That's where he's going to pretty much have to get his feet wet now. Like instead of getting that experience and knocking that out in college, he's going to have to really get his bumps and bruises in the NFL, which for most players, it's playing a lot of those snaps at a certain level in college and then having to upgrade that. Like, okay, can you sustain that dominant level, but just up here in the NFL? Whereas for him, it's like most guys are here. He, because the lack of experience, is down here. So he's got to step all the way up here to get to that NFL run defense level. I think he can do it. I don't think we're going to put him in situations, honestly. I think we're deep enough where we're probably going to get his feet wet slowly, say, hey, we know you do this really well, because he's one of the more successful defensive tackles pass rushing in the past like 5 to 10 years. Like his metrics are just through the roof, crazy. That's why people who like him, they friggin' love him, like fringe first round type talent, right? And another right? If he played more run snaps and even looked decent at it, he probably would have been a first round pick. So we're lucky he didn't. For us, we're lucky he didn't play more and run snaps, because he would have been there. So I just think we're going to put him in situations where we know he can win, just straight up pass rush. And again, what's he coming into? Right, he's going to be next to Chris Jones. Like, so as good as he can possibly be, here's the greatest thing about it. He could be a phenom rookie. He could be like one of the better rookie defensive tackles of the past 5 years, and he still won't get the most attention. It just won't happen because of who he has next to him. So he can look amazing, and he's still going to get some of the scraps from the offensive line, because they're always going to be looking at 95 every single time. So I think for him, sky's the limit. Single coverage, single blocking. They're not going to double him. He's going to be able to just shoot gaps and do just like, man, be you. They're going to tell him that. And don't worry about the run defense. We'll get you up to speed eventually. But just for now, do you get after that quarterback? That's what we want you to do, man. Just do that, and you're good. And he loves doing it, and he's incredible at it. So that is his strong suit, and that's what we need him for. So, yeah, B+.
And if this is like the replacement for Turk Warrington, like picking up where he left off, and a young guy without the price tag, then you found what you needed. That's what you needed, right? So we need that pressure. Like Greg Rose said, he may not knock down passes, but what he need is pressure. Absolutely.
We weren't asking Warrington to play run snaps anyway. He wasn't our run defense.
Exactly, right. That's right. Exactly. So he perfect. It's a perfect point. You know, we're not asking for him to come in and do all the snaps. He's going to be a rotational piece, just like Warrington was. Same thing.
And he's fresh. Only playing, 18% of snaps a game? He's fresh. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, he's that young, puppy pit bull, man, that's just been in the apartment all day long. You get home and he's ready. He's just doing circles, ready to go, ready to run outside and just tear it up on the field. So unleash him, let him go.
Yeah, I mean, for as much as we love Turk Warden is having him, like, he's bringing a little bit more of that pass rush specialist where like Wharton kind of worked to get to that. This guy already has kind of things in his bag that Wharton kind of like still doesn't even have. I mean, because this guy is a pass rush phenom. Obviously, we need to see it do it at the NFL level, but like this guy already has that in his bag, and having him do that, pretty much we've been begging the Chiefs to do for the last few years to get someone who can get to the quarterback next to Chris Jones, and now we have it. So like, it's gonna be fun to see this guy kind of tee off on Chris Jones gets double team and triple team, because really at some point they're not gonna be able to do that anymore, because we are gonna have this guy, another guy we're about to talk about in a little bit here, and on top of Menahu, on top of Karlaftis. I mean, this D line is going to be very, very, very interesting to watch this year. I mean, we have a lot of depth for the first time in a really long time, so it's going to be exciting. So we do have Ryan Nutt to talk about Omarr Norman-Lott. So here is Ryan Nutt on Omarr Norman-Lott.
And I wanted to ask you about Omarr Norman-Lott. It seems like his board, there's people that have him really high and then others don't have him as high. I guess, what makes you confident about your evaluation about him? And I guess in a perfect world, what role does he fit for you guys?
Yeah, so he's got some similarities to Turk. He's bigger. He's not as fast, but their play style is very similar. This kid was like 99 percentile in terms of rush win rate. He was one of the top defensive tackles in winning one-on-one pass rush. And that's what we first off need, and that's what we saw could add value. These guys, these interior linemen that are, athletic. This kid jumped 31 and a half, 9.5. He's big hands. Those guys go quick. We knew they go quick. So we thought, and a interior guy that can rush as well go even quicker. So Brett was before the draft, before that round, Brett was pretty adamant about, okay, he's one of these guys we have to consider. And we put up a list of 4 or 5 guys, and he was one of them, and he ended up being one of the top guys left, and that was a position of need as well. But we feel like he can come in and help rush the passer. I feel like he didn't start a ton in his career there at Tennessee, but it's really what you do with snaps, and they rotate a lot. So really it's just what he does in those 20 to 25 snaps a game. And the kid was high motor. He was highly productive and highly disruptive. And those are the things we look for. And I think we'll be able to, Coach Collins, the best defensive line coach in the NFL, I believe, and he'll be able to get that out of him, and I think more. And even against the run, the kid I thought was solid and stout enough. So that might be an area, just because he's 305 pounds, that can be a little better. But we're excited to get this kid and work with him because we think there's a ton of potential.
Pretty high praise and pretty very similar to what you guys have been saying about the Turk Warden. And what you guys mentioned the Turk Warden stuff when we did a mock draft on him. So this is same kind of thinking as the staff.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Seeing our guy Slam and Sammy. What's up, buddy?
Uh-oh.
Appreciate the contribution, bud.
Yeah, Slam and Sammy didn't know he was getting that little present right there. Yeah, get a little bell, Slam and Sammy, Joe. Appreciate it first off for the contribution, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Hope Royals is Chief for life, Swiss Army knife wide receiver. Yep, we're gonna be getting to him in a little bit, but yep, agreed. All right. So next guy is our guy, Ashton Gillotte, which we gotta get him on the show to talk to us about the pronunciation of that name. We got his mom liking our tweets on online and whatnot. But guys, this is a dude that we talked about, and amongst every other guy we talked about, we're going to talk about tonight. We talked about him already a million times, I feel like. But Ashton Gillotte, guys, relentless. Just a dude who wants to get to the quarterback, and that's something we talked about. We wanted that. We wanted a guy like this. Hence why we had him as a highlight prospect. What was your thoughts on this 3rd round selection?
Man, look, I told you once I seen this guy on film, I felt like this is a guy that we needed to have for here at the Chiefs. He's just a physical human being, and when I'm telling you this, I'm saying that. He comes out, he plays hard each and every time. He's going to hit you. When I was talking about when they were saying on kick-out blocks, when guards try to come and kick him out, he spins the guards around. That's what he does. He plants them over in the backfield because he's just generating that much power. He's got a wrestling background. He's very strong. We know that. I told you he got that flowing hair, man. He's a smart kid, but he's opposite of George Karlaftis. Those two are two relentless guys, high motor guys who are coming to go get it. A little bit bigger than George. I think he's going to work well for what we do. Bring him in, for different, pass rushes. He can be stout against the run as well. That's another thing. He can anchor, and so that's what you want to be able to do. So they can't reach him to the outside. So that does a lot for our linebackers. It does a lot for our defensive line. If you got a guy right here that you don't have to worry about getting reached because he's just not going to let you. Why? I mean, look at them big old arms right there. So getting his arms on him, he's throwing somebody out the club. That's just the way it works. So I don't know if any of y'all ever seen somebody get thrown out the club, but it is a violent thing to see. He looks like he's done a whole lot of it, man. When you watch him on film, he looks like a bouncer out there. So Gillotte, man, I like him. His production was stellar out there at Louisville. Did a great job, but I'd give this right here. I'm actually going to give him also a B+ on this as well. So he's our guy. He fits what we want to do for Spags. He likes it. I love it. So
B+. What was I know with Norman-Lott, a little smaller. What will be the kind of the downside to the Gillotte kind of thing? That's not giving him an A. I would say.
Man, B plus, Marcus. You know how I grade. You know how I grade, brother. I mean, this ain't nothing new to you. Getting the A is you're gonna have to be, right up there. But B plus. I mean, that's about as good as you get. Especially for somebody like me. And I always look at it like this, Marcus. I always tell you this, especially like defensive tackles or defensive ends. How would a dude look like going against me? When I'm sitting there and I'm evaluating a guy like this, how am I going ahead and attack a guy like him? And a big, strong dude like this, I know I'm going to bring my lunch pail each and every time. I'm going to go against a guy like that, okay? Nothing but respect for him. The way he plays ball, he plays – that's the Chiefs' way. Spags and them got him for a reason. I think that's when they started bringing in, getting the D-line and the defensive players, Spags started cooking. And so for him to come in over some of the other defensive ends says a lot to me. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. Tej, Gillotte, what do you think?
I'm gonna go B plus. It was between a B and a B plus. I'm going B plus. And it's stupid because I think some of the B was going to come from the consensus saying he could have been around a little later, but that's just so dumb because their board. And, in a draft where you don't pick usually, or every 20, every 30 picks, if he's 20 later than he should be in the consensus big board, then pick him then, right? Because he's not going to come back to you. So you have to, especially if he fits what you want in a pass rusher. I graded him up too, because I feel like his floor is really high. I feel the way I feel about him, like I feel about JTT from Ohio State. I just feel like they're long time pros. Maybe not 15 sack guys a year, because there's not many of those guys who can do that anyway every year.
Right.
Those are exotic fruits, man. You can't find those at every grocery store. All right. So that's tough. But it's rare enough to be able to say you're confident in him being a long-term pro. And a long-term pro, the floor, I think that's his floor. I think his floor is a high run defensive D end, setting the edge, high motor. I think an average of 7 to 10 sacks, which is great, especially if you have a really deep D line, right? You don't need a guy to get you 15 sacks. I think he'll get a lot of pressures, which in my mind, sacks are more valuable, but they're just more rare. And you know what? You can fall into a sack. There are some guys who, I think it was Kyle Kennard last year from South Carolina. I think he had 15 sacks or something. But I think half of them were gimmies, uncovered or just
unblocked,
pulled right into him, and he was he just sprinted at him and tackled him. That doesn't mean anything to me. A pressure means more to me than an open field sack where you were unguarded by the tackle. And I feel like a pressure is important. Some of our best Super Bowl clinching defensive plays weren't even sacks; they were pressures. Where quarterbacks overthrew a guy or underthrew them or missed a wide open guy in the end zone. I'm thinking of Brock Purdy. That's important to me. A guy who I feel like is going to get to the quarterback, not necessarily sack him every time. And I feel like Gillotte has that. I think he has that ability just to get to the quarterback a lot. I'll never question his effort. I'll never question just what he gives you out there every time. And that's really important for your second D end, or right now, or third or fourth D end, which is even greater to have. But I feel like I remember months ago when I was watching all these tape on D ends, and Marcus and I were talking about who to have on the other side of Karlaftis, and I was like, everyone wants a 15 sack guy, but if you give me 2 Karlaftises, I'm good with that. If you give me 2 Karlaftises on both sides, just animals with relentless motors on the sides, and then you have Chris Jones, and now you have a sack specialist in the middle with him. Yeah. I'm good with that. You can't. You're not just quarterback's just not going to have a lot of time. We're collapsing the pocket. We're shooting gaps. and we're relentless getting off the edges.
So we got a few questions just kind of related to what you were talking about here. Niall asks, JD, how is Gillotte's skill set different from the other DNs we have?
I think, man, his strength probably sets him apart more so than anything else. Like when you watch him just bench press tackles, like push him back there, like you are absolutely amazed. Like, whoa, look at this guy, and it comes natural, and he generates that type of power and strength relatively quickly, right? Where some guys got to wind up, his is immediately right there, and so a tackle knows as soon as he comes off, he's going to be able to feel his power. So that means he's got to anchor, he's got to do everything he possibly needs to do. Another thing right here, Marcus, backside. They said he almost ran 20 miles per hour, coming down from the backside. That's speed right there.
Speed.
It's just motoring. So, like you were saying before, he has that just relentless spirit, man. He's not going to give up. So anything backside, somebody cuts back, I'm telling you, he will ring somebody's bell, absolutely take their chin off if they try to cut back, running back. So buyers beware. You cut back, you're going to see that dude right there. Okay, number 9. All right. So Gillotte, man, is not playing around. So I think it's the difference in the skill set in itself, man. So
Niall has a few follow-ups to this. Pretty much the same question. One is this picking an indictment on FAU? And the other one is, who will get more snaps next year, FAU or Gillotte? If you had to guess, if you guys had to give the crystal ball, who's going to get more snaps next year?
Somewhat of an indictment, yes. They need a guy to come in and play immediately right now. And they don't have time to wait. Look, NFL is not about being guys. They're just not. And so they're going to give guys, enough chances to try to do what you can do. And this is also, too, just saying they're pushing FAU to show what he can do. Pure and simple. So I don't know who's going to get the most of, like, the reps-wise. I'll tell you what, we'll find out in camp. But I tell you what, this guy right here is coming in, and he's not playing games. He's not coming in to get on the bench. It's not what he's here to do. So he's our 3rd pick for a reason. They got a lot of trust in him, and they should.
We're getting a little pushback here, but B+, we reached for an edge and passed on so many better players. Do you guys think we reached? I don't think we reached. I think this was a need for us, and this is the best edge on the board at that time.
Yeah, I don't know what he's Blake Gould. Blake, I don't know what guys are needed. But we said all year or all season, the 3 we needed: offensive tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle. That was our tier 1 needs, and so there's a guy that the Chiefs needed to get. And you can go other defensive ends. There were some great defensive ends that we've seen that, didn't get picked. As a rookie, ended up going 2nd round. I thought he was going to be a 1st-round pick. Same thing with Green. Green was another guy who got picked. So they must have had Gillotte up high on the draft board, because there's other defensive ends out there as well. So for me, I thought he might have gone a little bit later, but they went up to go get him. Why? They seen his skill set. They know what he has. So that's easy. That's easy. Spags tell you to take somebody, you better take it. That's what I feel.
So Diaz went after him. Landon Jackson, Unma Mielen, Jordan Birch. I'd say Josiah Stewart. We weren't going to do that. I'd say that's pretty much it for the guys that probably rivaled who we might have taken.
But like even the ones like Azaraku and Green, like, yeah, those guys are high on like the overall boards and stuff. Yes, they're sack phenoms, but like talk about fit wise, I mean, you can make an argument July's more of a fit with the Spag system than the Azarakus or the Mike Greens of the world, because people were talking about, we even said it on the show, and people asked like, well, are those guys really the best fits while they may even the James Pierces of the world? Like, I feel like Gillotte, where we got him and talk about scheme fit, I feel like he fit more with our team than those other guys while they were ranked out higher than him. I feel like he just fits more. And, him and Karloff are boys, they train together. I mean, it tells you they want that kind of relentless type at the edge rush. And you have 2 guys who are going to, kill for that quarterback, which is what you want.
Especially high floor. That's why I like the high floor. And especially when you're taking a chance on Lott and you are taking a chance on Simmons, you need a high floor guy there. You need a guy is going to be a pro starting there for a long time. Like, it's good to have those. You need to mix it up. You can't just go all risky players. You can't do that. Like, you can't go all home runs. You need some singles. you need some doubles. You can't just, everything can't be a swing for the fences.
Yeah. The other guys you was talking about, Jackson and the other guys, Gillotte was a lot more consistent than them. You know who led the country in hurries? That was Gillotte. He led the entire country in hurries. So that's why you go get a guy like this.
For sure. There's a reason why you spotlighted him. I mean, you saw the type of edge what he was, and also like the characteristics of this guy, and also like the way he's built and all. I mean, he's gonna set the edge. He's gonna be perfect. I mean, like Teja said, high floor, and that's really get on base. That's a get on base type of draft pick move. Yeah, you know what? And he may pan out to be a 15-sack guy. Who knows? But at the worst, I see him being an 8 to 9. I was
giving him a floor at that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe we also have a soundbite from Ryan Nutt on this. Have it here.
Ryan Nutt. Someone said that in the chat. I love that. Ryan Nutt.
The Gillette kid, oh my gosh. I mean, there's a ton of things with him. He plays 100 miles an hour, and he's got crazy power he's got 32-inch arms, but the kid can knock tackles back like nobody's business. So that was exciting. And for us, if you want to be an elite rusher in this league, you got to have the speed to power move, and that kid does.
So Gillette, he called him Gillette there. So for the first one, so there's still the head scouts called him Gillette.
Yeah, but I think he shortened the name. He might we want to call him Gillotte. He may, I don't know.
The Gillette kid.
Hey, I tell you what. Once we get him on the show, how about we're asking him? We'll find out. I want to hear from the horse's mouth. Like, man, how do you say your name? How about that? Okay.
Yeah. So. I was hoping the mom was going to comment on it to give us the phonetic spelling on it.
Yeah.
All right. So it seems like, and that's the thing too. I'm really happy that the majority of our fan base is really excited for this kid, because it's cool to have that blue collar type of guy that everyone kind of really rallies behind. Like how our whole fan base is so supportive and love Jared Allen, and how we feel about Carl Loftus. Like we kind of like that kind of guy. The guys that he's gonna go get gritty for those sacks, and love it. All right, so our next guy is cornerback, sticking the third round here. Nohl Williams, another guy that we covered during the pre-draft analysis shows, was Nohl Williams from California. I'm
sorry to interrupt real fast. Louisville official athletic sports roster page, Gillotte.
Phonetically, okay, we got it right then. But Nohl Williams sticking to the third round. Cal, this guy's a ball hawk. Led the nation in interceptions. We haven't really had a guy do that in a while. I mean, not to say I'm not going to compare him to Marcus Peters at all, but like when we had Marcus Peters in his early days, we had a ball hawk. He was a guy who took chances on this, and that not to say no one is a risk taker by any means. Yeah, I think he's more of a solid cornerback than Marcus Peters was, because Marcus Peters took a lot of 50-50 type chances. No one's a solid cornerback who led the nation in interceptions. We just haven't had a guy like that in a while, so I'm very excited about this. About this pick here. What do you guys grade Nohl Williams from Cal?
I like his size. As far as him going up being a ball hawk, like you said, if people are trying to discount his ball hawk ability, the 7 interceptions should, just say enough of what it is. When I watched him in film, playing the technique about getting on a wide receiver right on his hip, getting his head round. He doesn't have a lazy head whatsoever. I think he's more technical sound than anything else. Maybe what you want a little bit faster from him. He runs a 4.5. But the thing is, if you run technique, and he says he's a physical corner. So when I hear a corner talking about he's physical, I love it, because you can see on film if you are or you're not. Okay, the film will make you easily a liar, and he didn't lie not one bit about it. So the thing is, making sure the guys didn't get on top of him. So if you have a wide receiver that's 4.3 or whatever, he get his hands on him, staying physical at the line of scrimmage. That's what we need to see in man. He'll challenge guys in the room to come out there and be a starter immediately. I think day one, and I think that's why they went ahead and got this kid, because he is a baller. 7 interceptions in itself, he's like, man, this guy knows how to find the football. It's pure and simple. That's what it's all about. So. I think that's what it is. If you know, you talking about the start and stop, him catching footballs and whatnot, he's going to challenge guys. He's a great tackler. I like this pick for us. I do. So we got guys at the position that we also too, like I told you, Marcus, we ain't about babysitting, and I'm not talking really about anybody in itself. This is just about production. That's what the Chiefs need. That's what the NFL wants. And so get a guy like this in right now. It's a third-round pick. He's going to make sure everybody in that room is going to feel him.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is this the highest cornerback outside of McDuffie in the round one? Is this the highest picked cornerback by Veach outside of McDuffie in round one? Because, I mean, all the other ones are like, what, late round? Was Snead third or fourth?
I want to guess fourth.
Okay. Josh Williams was fourth or fifth. Watson, 7th round. Nazi, 7th round. Might be the earliest cornerback he's taken. He's outside of McDuffie in round one.
Snead's
wow. Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, they like the late round cornerbacks. So the fact they went up and got this guy, it tells you how much they do like his skill set. So, I am excited about that.
First, let me say, how about Cal? Four draft picks, all from I think all from defense too. So,
really?
Yeah, wow. They know how to coach. They know how to coach him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, for a third rounder, a fourth rounder, and a 6th rounder. So it's pretty good. Bodes well for the way they coach these guys. I like seeing that. You know what? None of those positions are though. D line. So he was doing this without a highly drafted pass rush in front of him, right? So that I love. So if you're able to generate interceptions and play press man coverage on an island the way he did in college, imagine doing that with the guys we already mentioned in front of him, a D line. He's got an incredible ability to keep his eyes on the quarterback and readjust when the quarterback throws the ball, with his ability to keep his hands on a receiver and keep watching the quarterback. I see that that's something they really wanted, which is why they traded up for him. They wanted a guy. They're like, okay, we see our pass rush being fierce this year with just our front four. Let's get a guy who can just play man up, press him, and then be ready for that ball. Quickly adjust when that ball comes out, and he'll be catching it. One of his top abilities, and I think that's the thing that we wanted. I think that's blatantly what we want. I think we want just a nasty 4-man rush. We don't want to have to blitz, which was happening too often last year. I do like the way Spags generated exotic blitzes, and it was great at that. I just don't want that to be the only way we generate a consistent pass rush. I want to have a pass rush outside of that. And then when you bring Shenault off the edge, when you have Trent McDuffie blitz off the slot, which they say they want to do more this year with them, I love that. It's great. Just make that be like the cherry on top, not the reason why we have 3 sacks in the game, you know? So I think he's going to play off that perfectly. I love the pick. I said before, he was probably one of my most mocked players throughout this draft process. Also, because you imagine to my excitement, he was around like 130 at 135 or 133 all the time, which is great. But when you do that and you show that they trade up for a guy, it's like, oh man, like they want him bad. So I love seeing that, and you can see why. I just can't wait to see him on the field. I give it a B+.
Wow, so you and JD are lockstep here. This is too close here, guys. This is too much, too similar with the grades here, guys.
Can I say something real quick? Okay, I know y'all keep calling McDuffie. I'm not talking about y'all, but everybody keep calling McDuffie a slot corner. Okay, and
I didn't call him that.
No, I'm saying everybody in the chat.
Okay,
no, that's you. No, I know you said they wanted to do like bring.
They want to play him more in the slot this year. They told him on the phone they did. So
yeah. But what he has shown is that he's a pure corner. And I don't think people quite understand. It's kind of a knock somewhat. He's the kind of to do it all, but he wants to be the dude that is like when you on the outside, I want to be, isolated on a dude. I'm traveling with a guy. That's what I want to be able to be. And I think sometimes we hear slot corners, and I'm taking from just how it looks for us, like offensively. On guys on slot corners, I don't want this to come out wrong. But those are guys that you get that do have the skill set, but also too, your main guy is going to be on the outside. Okay, like Jamar Chase is going to be on the outside. Justin Jefferson is going to be on the outside. Like your number one receiver is going to be on the outside more so than anything else. Slot corners the slots are the guys you're going to try to run to kind of get open, a little more niftier and moving around and stuff. I think, for him, I know it. He's the best slot in the league. I want your number one guy. That's what he wants. Your number one guy is not necessarily going to be in a slot. Let me put it that way. So that's the reason I say that. He's going to line up wherever the best receiver is on the field. That's what Trent McDuffie does. So I know sometimes when people say, slot corners and whatnot, he's a pure guy. He's a pure corner. So
what do you make of what Amda says here? And I don't think that we talked about this the other day. I don't think Nohl Williams is a replacement for McDuffie at all. I think it's another cornerback to have in that room because we've been kind of dying at that cornerback 2 spot. It's a different guy every week for injuries and other stuff. But Amda says he's the pick to be the placeholder if they can't re-sign McDuffie. What do you think about that?
I think they're gonna find that out real quick, and I think that this is definitely a test to find out. Because it's gonna be a high dollar for that investment for Trent McDuffie because he is so good, because he is the guy that does travel with your best receiver. And so that's what I mean. And so if this guy comes in and plays at a high level, is that a consideration? I don't know. That's the Chiefs are always going to have their top tier guys that they sign and money's going to, right? Patrick Mahomes is going to be one of them. Chris Jones is another. And we know how that goes. Trey Smith is, he's come up there now and all of a sudden he's going to blow, everything up. They just paid Bolton. So Trent McDuffie's coming in to hit everybody over the head. Creed. Yep. Creed also.
Creed is paid a good amount.
Yes, sir. So
that's why the Tooney thing happened. We had to make tough decisions. We just do.
Yeah.
Just have to.
That's business. It's business. But Trent McDuffie, he's hard, man. That's a hard guy to pass up with guys that may not have that type of ability, right? So if I'm looking at your number one receiver, I'm sitting there saying Trent McDuffie has that guy. Okay. Nobody else in the room is going to be able to cover him and do that job until we find out if somebody else can. So, yeah.
Yeah. But nonetheless, cornerback room, I think Nohl said it here. Chiefs are now 5 deep at corner. Scary good. I mean, hey, that cornerback 2 spot looks a lot better than it did going into training camp last year. Remember, Watson was hurt, and we didn't see him for the last preseason game. And then that last preseason game, he played the entire time. We're like, whoa, he looks pretty rough out there. And then, Watson was fantastic last year. Got hurt, and they came back. So, the fact that we have McDuffie, Nohl, and Watson as the top 3, I love that.
We got Fulton.
And Fulton too, yeah. So I mean, that's a nice foursome right there.
Yeah,
the 4 horsemen.
It's a great competition.
And what also too, and I know people want to dog Nazi for whatever reason, but Nazi, who's a starter last year, now we have him as the 5th, 4th cornerback, and then Josh Williams also at the 4th, 5th. I mean, a lot of these guys are competing. I mean, just list out the 6 and to say that our last 2 cornerbacks are guys who were started last year at certain points. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's well, okay. Go ahead. All right.
No, you're going to say something? No. We do have a soundbite here from Ryan Nutt about Nohl Williams.
It would be the ball skills and the instincts. The kid consistently sets himself up to make plays.
Short, sweet about Nohl Williams from Ryan Nutt.
Hey, there you go.
Short and sweet. Hey, so straight to the point there. no farting around.
He can just say he's a ball hawk, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I needed to say. So our next guy, we've seen a few people comment about this, Jalen Royals. I'm seeing shirts right now that it's like the Royal crown instead of the KC. They put Jalen in cursive in the little crown box, and underneath it's Royals, but in red. So pretty cool shirt that's going around right now. I think Jalen Royals merchandise is going to be pretty sweet with kind of the crossover Kansas City Royals. When I think at some point he needs to throw out a first pitch at a Royals game, just because. As soon as he lands in Kansas City, he needs to do it right away.
Definitely will.
Oh, 100%. And they're going to do like a Royals jersey night where you get Royals in the back, and they both win in that category. But fourth round, we talked about it the other day. Fourth round comes, like one of the first picks was Jacksonville Jaguars draft Chimere Dike from Florida, who was supposed to be like a seventh round guy, potentially undrafted guy. I'm sitting there thinking, well, Jalen Royals is on the board there. Can he last to us? And I see Dike get drafted the first pick of the fourth round. I'm like, oh, no way. If this guy's going first, Royals is not going to make it to us. And Jalen Royals.
I think it's DK.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay. Chimere DK goes one and in the fourth. And I'm like, oh, there's no way Royals gets to us. But he does. He doesn't. And the Chiefs stand pat in that spot. They have to come up for him. He gets to that spot. And alas, a guy we talked about and a guy we loved on this show just a few weeks ago. Guys, what was your grade on Jalen Royals?
I tell you what, Tage actually put me on to this dude. Okay. He's the one that kind of brought him to my attention. Wide receivers, I was kind of looking at, certain guys, and I was just like, oh, okay, ho-hum a little bit, because I knew wide receiver wasn't really one of our priorities to go get. We knew he was going to probably get somebody to kind of come in and add on to what we do. But when I got this name and y'all kind of hit me to him, I started watching him. I started kind of falling in love with the dude. Really, a lot of it had to do with how the guy really caught the football, how he used his body catching the daggone ball, running his routes. He was silky smooth. I like his size. I think he fits exactly what we do. When we talking about somewhat of a bigger wide receiver than what we have, I always say we have a body type. He's 6 foot. Was it 205? I mean, that's a perfect body type for things that we do. And so the thing is, he catches the daggone football a lot. He's generate a lot of production over the years. But I everything I see on film, man, I love everything about it. End up running a 4.4 at the combine. I was just like, that God. I was like, okay, real dude. Because I'm thinking, watching him on film at first, it looks like he's a little bit slower, but he's motoring at 4.4. And that's what you're gonna see. You see that high point, go get it. That is exactly what he'll do. I think, man, that we knocked it out of the park with this guy. Somebody asked me today, they said, what was your best acquisition as far as with the draft? I said, probably Royals, number one. Josh Simmons, obviously, because I wanted him super early. Josh Simmons, of course, was the top for me. I knew we was going to get him. But Royals, when we look at what he can do, what he's given, and where we got him at, I'm like, man, he's probably, I would have to say, my first or second favorite, right there with Simmons. So.
Yeah, I'm saying, Sammy, I'd have been fine picking Royals at 66, let alone where we got him. Me too. Like, if we had got him, hell yeah, we got Jalen Royals. But the fact that we got him where we got him, insane value. Teja, go ahead, buddy.
Here's our biggest steal of the draft. In mocks, I would steer away from receiver, hoping that he'd fall to 95. And he fell to 95. I didn't even look to see who else was there. I was like, all right, there you go. Oh, take him. Like, he was just like, all right, is Royals going to fall? Is Royals going to fall? He fell. Good. Done. Easy. Otherwise, I was like, oh, man, I have to pivot to something I don't want to take. But, like, I mean, it was just a no-brainer. Everything he does, he's so smooth. You hear just so many good things about him. There's not much bad to say about him. There's not a lot of things that he kills other receivers at, and maybe that hurt him, but he just does so much well, and there's not much to complain about. His film was great. I think this year he did maybe a little more, just because I heard like the Utah State offense is a little weird. They kind of had to like put him in the just quick throw, bubble screen mode. So he's got the yak, but that showed how much yak he could do. But then he can split out wide. They have him, like I said last time, they're weird offense. They have him like hugging the sidelines, which is a detriment to a receiver. Poor guy. But he still turned out a great season despite that. He averaged like 800 something yards in like 7 games. He was on pace for like 1,500 yards before he got injured. Like, if he did that, he would not have lasted that far. And like, even if he's on pace for it, there's still, he wasn't going to last that. When you have that kind of production all season, no way you're going to last that way. I mean, he's got the yak part. He's got the route running down. He's so smooth. He ball tracks. He attacks the ball in the air. He comes to it and attacks and rips it out of the air. I mean, he just bullies guys out there. He plays big. He plays strong. I think his 10-yard split was, I think it was number one out of receivers, I believe. There's just not, like I said, there's nothing bad to say about him. I don't know why he lasted that long. No one does. Every time you see especially one of the analysts that talk about him, they all say the same thing. He had no business being out there at that selection. Like, I mean, round 2, you wouldn't have thought twice about that if he was a round 2 pick. And that's just amazing to get him that late. Again, maybe his injury, maybe the lack of production because of his injury caused him to fall late. I mean, that's just another thing. The board, you hear the A's that we get out of analysts, they just said the board fell so well for us. It fell so perfectly for what we needed. Because we don't need like a specialist. Mahomes just needs a lot of do-it-all receivers. We need a lot of options he can throw to. And the way our offense has been going, we're not throwing bombs all the time. And even if we did, it's going to Hollywood or it's going to Xavier. Okay, Rice and Royals are just great pivot points because if your offense is stagnant and your deep ball is not falling, you could run those bubbles. You could run those screens. You could run the quick slants, and they'll get you yards. And you have multiple guys who can do that. Not to mention the other aspect of it is the insurance part of it, which is we don't know. Rice did have a major injury. We don't know what's going to have the suspension. So that's a guy who looks like Rice who can help fill. I'm not going to say fill in for him because that's not fair, but help fill in for him before, he comes back. So that's just a great luxury to have. And again, it just fell perfectly. It's an A for me. It's an easy A. Maybe I'll say A plus. I mean, a 1 to 2 round steal. That's A plus. And it wasn't just a position that we weren't looking for, or because Veach said it. I mean, we're always looking at possible ways to upgrade receiver. So something you're looking for, a fit and a steal. It's just an A plus.
Same with you, JD, or you just an A?
No, I gave a B plus.
Oh, you gave a B plus? Oh, okay.
B plus.
How'd you give that a B? You gave the other ones a B plus, and you said this is our biggest steal of draft. You gotta come on. A minus. Give it an A minus at least.
Hey, man, it's B plus, man.
How is that possible? If I was a student, I stay after class to talk to you about my grade.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, JD, this paper you gave me a B plus on, but you said this other paper is like my best paper of the year. So how these two have the same grades?
I'm patting people on the back saying good job. Okay, I appreciate it. The grades not gonna change.
You just gave me a B plus to give me a B plus is what I would say after I saw that paper. You just gave me a B plus because it's not perfect. That's what the A minus is for.
I hear you. Look, I like the guy, and I do believe he's probably, for us, I like him probably the most. And I said, Josh Simmons, obviously. The thing is, with Royals, I'm just, I'm wanting to see what he's going to be able to do production wise. I just want to see it, So I think he has a lot of potential to come in and do a lot. I mean, B plus. Like I said, Teja, if you ever see me grade, man, B plus, is that's a damn good grade from JD.
That B plus is like a 20-point range, though, isn't it? You have like a B plus, and then B plus.
Yeah.
I'm like, minus, I feel.
Yeah, I'm almost right there at A minus, but
yeah.
I'm looking at my other ones and stuff like that. So, like I gave Nohl, I just gave Nohl a B. I don't know. I I didn't say what he had last time. I gave him a B, actually. So,
yeah.
Laura Zinzer says Teja sounds like a kid I taught in high school. There you go.
yeah. What do you mean I got this? I just came over here. I gave you an apple. I've been.
I'll tell you what, man.
I just wiped your blackboard off. And then what the heck? You know, come on, teach.
To bring it all back, JD's a tough nut to crack because that kind of explanation 9 times out of 10 would have worked on a teacher. They'd be like, all right, A-, get out of my classroom. That's what I would get. I'd be A-. Now get out. Get out. Leave me alone. I don't want to see you next week.
I tell you what, at the end of all of this, I might bump it up to an A-. I might.
Yeah, you see?
Just might. Yeah, just might. Because I have an overall grade that I gave our draft, and so I'm looking at what everybody is. So
yeah,
he's a question right there. There we go.
Don't let Teja work you like that, JD. Don't let Blake work.
He's got a valid point. I like hearing it. You know, hey,
talk about a tough nut to crack. Here's Ryan Nutt on Jalen Royals here.
Jalen Royals. What's just the process of, his tape looks really good. His numbers look really good. What's the process of?
I got a freeze. Everyone else get a freeze here? Or is that me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll come back to him.
You
froze out.
Oh, here we go. Now you're unfrozen.
You froze out there. One
Go
more
ahead.
time.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I just wonder what can you guys finish it off? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Ryan. I just wondered the process with Jalen Royals. Obviously, he's not an SEC kid. He went to Utah State. What's the process of determining, and what attributes do you look to say, hey, this kid's skills will translate to this next level?
Yeah, first off, his game is very similar to Rashid's, where you watch a kid, he lines up primarily on the left side. That's how they do. That's how some offenses in college work. They want to go fast, so they'll have the receiver line up on the same side every time to do that. So you're wondering, all right, like he's always playing on the left side, like is he gonna be able to move around? And he does. He plays outside, but he primarily plays inside in the slot. When I say he's like Rashid, he's got big hands, strong hands, and he's very good after the catch. And you saw him downfield too on some of those clips. I'm sure you saw. I mean, the kid had 50 plus touchdowns in 2023. He was on record, or he was on pace in 2024 to kind of smash the 2023 production before he got injured. So we thought rack is it's a big part of our offense. It's something we look for in receivers. I mean, we look for speed. The kid had that 4.40. We look for strength. He has that, and he's got rack. And we look for route running, and that's probably an area where Rashid had to kind of develop a little bit. So we kind of thought they were similar in that respect. But he came on the scene. We watched his tape before the Senior Bowl. Brett will kind of pick and choose, and we're like, hey, this guy's kind of interesting. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and we thought he did well. So he got it, he got even more on the radar. Then he goes to the combine, he runs a 4.40, you know what I mean? And he jumps to 36, and we're like, oh, this kid's explosive. And then you get the kind of coaches involved, and we Zoom them and we talk, and we're like, yeah, we could use this kid. And with Rashid coming back from injury and trying to get right, the hopes are, this kid can step in and try to get some playing time and help us out.
Yeah, one highlight that's been making the rounds since we drafted him is a one-on-one with Maxwell Harrison, where he kind of cooked him. But again, one-on-ones. I think he ran a slant across the other side of the field. So I mean, like, I always love doing one-on-ones. They have you do a little slant and just take it to the house after that.
Yeah, like, sucker, if you can't get open on this, then with two, you don't need to be over here. Yeah, come on.
I heard he killed the Senior Bowl practices too, big time.
Yeah, his route running stood out. That was a big thing. But yeah, whenever I see the one-on-one highlights where the guys run a slant like a post, and it's like there's no over top help. I mean, okay. Yeah.
Actually, that was a good question, and that was kind of what I was alluding to a little bit. Is it going to translate to the higher competition and whatnot? That's what I wanted to be able to see. That's why I said, like, when I was watching my film, it looked like he was around about a 4.5 guy. He runs 4.4, at the combine. I mean, that's moving. 36, so you see the explosion. So, like I said, 4.4, 4.4 is 4.4 wherever we go. I don't care where he is. Over here, Thailand, shoot, in anywhere in South America, 4.4 is 4.4. And so if you run a 4-4, man, yo, with a bad foot now, so with a bad foot, okay, well, shoot, this Joker's moving, man. He's moving. So,
do you guys have the Rashee Rice comp? Because that was kind of interesting comparison. I wasn't really.
You know what?
Comps.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think somewhat. I think it's valid for sure.
Hey, I also read, Teja, I don't know if you mentioned this on the prospect show. He was a running back before he was a receiver. I thought I either you said that or I read that somewhere else. He was like, because Brashard Smith was receiver to running back, and I read that he was a running back at one point too, which kind of explains something. I mean, he's a pretty physical runner too.
Yeah, just talking about the rack, man. Shoot, Joker's doing that. Then that's
no, I don't think I did say that.
Okay, let me make sure I'm right on that.
When you do as many things well as he does, you're going to get a lot of player comps, which is why he has so many all over the map. Because when you do so many things well, you kind of look like this guy when you do that, and you kind of look like this guy when you do this. Right. You kind of look like that guy when you do this, which is great. And I like that too, because instead of just becoming a poor man's version and not living up to the one guy you're compared to, I like that you do a lot of things really well, and you kind of add in some ingredients from a lot of guys.
He played running back in his early years, and he did take some snaps out of the backfield, which also one of his comparisons to Deebo Samuel, so a little bit of out of the backfield as well. So pretty interesting. I've always been a big Deebo guy. I've always wanted a kind of Deebo-esque kind of guy in our squad, and hey, give some Deebo elements to this guy's game on top of his route running. I'm all for it.
Well, I mean, he must have done something else, because I do have a note that says he's relatively new to playing receiver. So he's super polished considering that. So he played something else. Maybe he played like quarterback in high school, maybe?
Who it kind of reminds me of, and I'm just thinking same thing from the Mountain West, is Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is like one of those diamonds in the rough that I was sitting there thinking like, yo, this dude right here is going to be a hell of a receiver. And I wanted to get him with the Chiefs. I was like, yo, can we get this guy? So maybe this is the guy we needed from the Mountain West to say, okay, we got this dude like this that can ball out. So,
yeah, I saw someone actually trying to knock Mountain West in the comments here. And I'm just curious because, JD, you played you didn't play the Mountain West, right? You came from FCS. Yeah, optimistic James, who hasn't been so optimistic in some of the draft components and stuff, but Mountain West didn't have a great secondary in the draft, knocking the defensive level of talent from the Mountain West. What do you say to that?
I mean, no, I ain't gonna say he's not wrong. I mean, when you look for elite, like you said, you're looking for SEC schools, but like you said, he went. And if there's certain guys that you get to the Senior Bowl and you get to compete against, and you get to see how he goes against like a Malik and those guys, that's what you want to be able to see. And that was the question mark. Believe me, that's the question mark. So optimistic James does have somewhat of a point, but it's a real thin line, especially in skill positions. Usually you'll find it in linemen and whatnot is kind of, you could tell the level is a lot different. Okay, guys might not be a lot bigger or faster or quicker. Yeah, but if he went to the SEC, Chiefs when they got him, man, you ain't kidding. That's 100%. Right. Yeah. So optimistic James had, that's a point. Sure.
Yeah, because that is a point that I have seen online. Some people the naysayers are trying to knock the pick because we always have those. Last time we drafted a receiver that was a non Power 5 was Sky Moore, MAC conference guy, and we saw how that worked out. So
I knew they were gonna go there with it. That's what's gonna happen too.
So yeah, he's got the Deebo one's fair too. Also, Jaden Reed, he gets that comp just because of those gadgety type plays that he can do.
A little bit of everything.
The tracking of like a Mike Wallace, they say like a deep ball. He could track deep balls like a Mike Wallace. The kind of yak of like a Rashee Rice, and then Godwin's the other guy. He's kind of got that compact, like thick build like Godwin, and just snatches and attacks balls.
Yeah, he's got so many different traits, man. It's lumped into one guy. Yeah, I don't understand why a skill set like that's last into the 4th round. I mean, I don't get it.
Like I said, man, we'll see. He had to go against like Surtain and those jokers out there, man. It's gonna be they ain't top liver. I'm telling you right now.
The thing is, with how many receivers we have, does he? He's gonna go against like a number 3 or 4 cornerback at this point.
Well,
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he'll be going against Matt competition again,
or Mountain West competition.
Yeah, Mountain West.
No.
the Mountain West of the NFL.
Hey, you're 30. Yeah, I was gonna say you're 30 or 4, but these jokers right here was SEC and still don't make it. So that's how it works.
The Mountain West of the NFL, the number 3 and 4 cornerback on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because when you think about it, I forgot who it was. Was it Sims? It was someone I was listening to their breakdown of the draft, and they were saying how like not many teams in the NFL have 3 good cornerbacks. 3 good cornerbacks.
Yeah.
It's just not very common. Like it's not because it's not easy. You can't really you can't pay them. So you have to draft well all the time to keep replenishing cornerback and hit and hit and hit. It's not that common. So yeah, I mean 3, 4. Yeah.
Well, that's why I was saying about like the whole slot statement. Usually your slot guy is going to probably be your 3rd cornerback. Usually, that's how it works. It's not going to be your elite guys on the outside. You want somebody to come in and probably run, cover both in your sub package. You're going to have to cover a tight end too. Sometimes you're going to have to tight end or just kind of a big slot. They're not going to get the ball to. So that's just, that's how that works.
Appreciate the love there, Kenneth Eaton. Chiefs draft, Chief Concerns coverage, A++. That's a good grade right there.
Did you give us a B+, JD?
Huh?
Did you give us a B+?
No, we get an A+++, baby.
Okay, there you go.
Forget about
There
that.
you go.
Yes, sir. That's an A+.
There you go.
I think that's the Green Bay. Y'all got some receivers too. Y'all just stay receivers up there.
Yeah.
They showed Aaron Rodgers looking at it. They had like a training day. Obviously they put his face on Denzel. After them drafting a 1st round pick. He's like, okay, all right.
They hadn't drafted a 1st round receiver since Javon Walker, which was nuts, like 2003 or something like that. Nuts.
Yeah. So Christian Watson. See, that's why I said Christian Watson. Well, I guess he was a 2nd round.
They traded up in the 2nd round to get him.
Yeah.
Ooh, Packers signed Isaiah Simmons a couple hours ago.
Oh, it's not bad pickup. Yeah, apparently some of the veterans that are signing with teams. Apparently Nick Chubb is apparently going to sign with the Bears in the next few days.
Oh, geez.
Because they didn't get a running back in the draft, so it's DeAndre Swift and Chubb. It's not a bad backfield.
Yeah, Chicago they didn't get a running back.
I don't think so. Because
I thought they got one late. Oh, they got Monungai, my boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Rutgers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They like we need to go get Chubb. Ain't gonna be enough.
No, I mean he's back to squad like 700 pounds again, so his knee looks like it's back to form.
Yo, man, if he comes back, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's a hard division up there.
It is.
Man, I don't know, man. Y'all might be 4th in y'all division.
It's cold there too.
Huh?
It gets cold there too.
Yeah. Look like Green Bay is gonna be 4th. Y'all gonna be 4th than y'all. So.
All right, so we're now going to do our 5th round pick, Jeffrey Bassa. Who's the Bassa? The final Bassa, Jeffrey Bassa. So linebacker from Oregon. Teja was the only linebacker we covered on our pre-draft analysis shows, which is hilarious that the only linebacker we covered is the guy we end up drafting. It's not another nutso thing from our pre-draft analysis shows. Guy's an athletic freak. That's going to allow us to hopefully be able to cover tight ends and running backs again. So hopefully he gives us that kind of edge out there on the defensive side of things and kind of, allows Spags to kind of whip up some special things in the from the linebacking group. What do you guys grade this Jeffrey Bassa pick in the 5th round?
I think he definitely helps out our linebacker core. No doubt about it. I think, as far as talent-wise, when I was telling you the other guys that they had over the years, they were like, okay, maybe we need to get another guy here that can do a little bit more than we've asked the other guys to do, okay, and show a little bit more. And I said, whenever you have Drew Tranquil's out, Chanel or Bolton, then you're going to have to start wondering, okay, can the other guys handle it? And this right here, I think he kind of helps with your concern. He's a guy that could come in and replace any of those guys and do a great job. I love his leadership ability. I love that he has a dog mentality about him. We talk about athletic freak. That's exactly what he is. We talked about coverage. And so if you want to take a Nick Bolton out on, third down or whoever it may be, Drew Tranquill, you can put this guy right here in. Does a great job in coverage. He can absolutely fly to get up there and make tackles. Pretty sure tackler. And so, hey, they said he's a gay replacement. He's got the speeds as what you look for a linebacker. But I like him. I like him a lot. So yeah, it is. It's a good pull, Teja, on this one. Finding Bassa. So I know he's not the tallest of guys, 6'1". We always want the Fred Warners, right? They got mad because Nick Bolton wasn't 6'4", 6'5" with locks. Okay, he's got locks, but he's not 6'5". But all he does is make tackles. I think for him, he could come into that linebacker room and absolutely contribute his very first year. Okay?
He's cut. He's ripped, dude. I mean, that last image of him.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Uh-huh.
I went too far back.
Yeah. It's not doctored either. That's the real deal. Suckers.
That right there. Look at that.
Yeah.
The King Leonidas out there.
Mm-hmm.
Without the CGI.
Without the CGI, yeah.
It lists him at 6'1" on the NFL.com, but I see him listed like 6'1" and change to 6'2" a lot of places. But he's probably 6'1" and change, maybe. That's pretty good size. I wouldn't say it's not small.
No, it's not. I mean, no. But you know how everybody wants the guy that, like I said, Fred Warner, dude who's 6'3" and a half and 6'4", thinking that only those guys prototypically can do those jobs. But this guy right here can run down anything and everybody. Like I said before, man, I played him against some really good linebackers. I think he'll fit right into that category.
Yeah. Another part of the whole conversation of making tough decisions, you have to draft guys a year early because you don't want a rookie to be put in especially a fourth round pick to be put in a situation where he has to play really well for us to look good at linebacker, right? It's another great luxury to have to bring him along, have him steal some snaps, have him learn from a good vet group. And then maybe if you need that money to dedicate to McDuffie or to dedicate to Karlaftis, maybe you have to make the tough decision with Tranquill. I don't know. I like Tranquill a lot, but again, there's a lot of players that I liked over the years that we had to make tough decisions on. It's just part of the business and smart for the Chiefs to get ahead of it by a year and do that and try to find a perfect replacement maybe for him. So I think Bassa played a little, maybe more of the middle in Oregon, but he'll be more of a chase and cover type of linebacker for us. Hard to dictate that now because it's so early. But I think he's a really good player with a lot of potential, though, to become our next just chase and cover linebacker. They had him ISO against tight ends, even some slot receivers, running backs. I mean, he's a guy you could just do so much with, and even try to blitz once in a while. And he's got such a high IQ, and he's a good leader. I just think he's an asset to have a year before we have to make a tough decision. We have 2 upcoming possible free agents, starting linebacker. So, there's a reason why we did it. Because I know linebacker wasn't really on a lot of people's radar. It wasn't on mine until I was like, you know what? I think that last week I did safety and linebacker. I was like, I don't know about these two. We could easily have to go linebacker or safety this draft because we have to make some tough decisions soon. Guys are coming up on their contracts. And then he just fit. He fit what we're looking for, and he fits the kind of guy we want. And we're lucky he fell. We're lucky he fell to that pick. Again, with him, one of the main podcasts I listened to, they had us taking him at 95. So it just goes to show you, we got him
really
down later. Yeah. So just lucky again. Just things fell really well for us. I know it's still it's April, so we don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these guys in the future, but future looks bright right now. I give Bassa. I'm gonna go JD style. Go B+.
There you go. But I think what you sent us the article earlier that we had him as a top 100 prospect for us.
Yeah, he was a top 100 on our board, and he's the reason why we didn't. Because there were a lot of running backs, and running back is a position we wanted in the draft. And he said it before. They talked about it during. It just shows you they were like, man, we can't pass up on him. Like he's that good to the point of let's wait on a running back because he's that good.
And it also tells you how deep the running back class was. We're like, okay, we could probably get one later, but we probably can't get a guy of Jeffrey Bassa's stature, and how they felt about him, obviously the top 100. You're not going to get him around 7 with the way the linebacker class was in this class.
No. I mean, a lot of running backs went in the 4th. They weren't kidding about that. There was a lot of running backs available in the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jenny, you talked about his leadership the other day after the draft. And that's something that I continue to hear about more so. And also too, like, I think people forget, right? People talk about the green dot. What comes with the green dot linebacker is that leadership and the responsibility aspect, but also that leadership, that role model everyone's looking to on the defensive side, like the quarterback and the defense, as you always say about Bolton.
You're putting everybody in position. Everybody looks to you. When there's a call being made, if there's any question of what's going on, they look to the green dot for the answer. Period and point blank. That's how it is. So he echoes what the coach wants. And the coach knows what he needs. And when the coach talks to somebody, he talks to him. That's who he goes through. And he's like, man, you make sure you get everybody else in place. That's what you do as a general. So yeah, that's high class right there, man. It's high class.
And have 2 of those guys, right? Because obviously Bolton's are the QB on the and he got the reside that. But they have 2 of those guys. Talk about how important it is to have 2 of those type of leaders, like, right? Because you always have one guy to look to, but if you have 2 guys like that on one side of the ball, that's pretty special to have.
Yeah. He's somebody you don't have to try to keep in line. He already knows. He knows his assignment. He knows it. And so he's gonna bark right there with you. So on Bolton's over there barking, ho, 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 ho. Bassa's on the side, ho, 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 ho. So it's gonna be 2 dogs over there barking. So one playing in the mic, and the other one's playing in the wheel backer, the week. So yeah, this is a good pickup, man. I got him down. I got him a B. But I could talk to him almost being a B+, but I got him down as a B. He's good. He's a good fit for us. I want to see how. So my question with him, because of his size, is does he get swallowed up? You don't want that guy to get swallowed up by guards and tackles moved up to the second level. I haven't done that much of a deep dive to say that enough of it, but I definitely did see. So
one of his strengths on NFL.com was rarely allows blockers to latch on and dictates terms.
That's beautiful. I like that. Who was that? Where was that from?
Lance Zierlein from NFL.com.
Oh, okay.
Most of his negatives are, it's one of those they're not really negatives. He just might not be elite. Yeah. Missing the playmaking gene, muscular but smaller for the interior. Yeah. Not as instinctive as you like in the run game. It just sounds like he's not a middle linebacker is what it sounds like. You know what I mean? It just sounds like he's not a middle linebacker in the league. It's like he's a linebacker. You just got to find the best spot for him. And that's when it comes down to the team who drafts him, what they envision for him and what they don't. I don't think they draft. Obviously, with Bolton in there for the next 3 years at good money, the man's got his own money. I don't think they're drafting him to be middle linebacker anytime soon. So,
I think you get a guy like us in, so Bolton, those guys can help him recognize things, and I think it's part of that's when I'm hearing that somewhat of concern about him. Now, I think it's what it is, just the recognition of plays, playing fast. Don't second guess yourself. But once he gets it, and they get there doing all the film study and getting right there where it needs to be, and reality is when you leave from college, you go to the NFL. Defenses are more complex. Spags is a much more complex defense, but he'll do a good job. And he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. You could tell just the leadership. He'll get it. Guy like that, you don't have to worry about him. Like, is he gonna be here when we need him? No, he'll be there. He'll be there. And I think that's what will, having this going into this room, man. He might, I'm telling you right now, he might be one of the top ones we get in this draft when it's all said and done.
A B? I think that's a B. That's B plus talk.
Look at Taze. Look at
that's B plus talk.
That's it. We'll see. That's a solid.
I'm being nice about the negotiation tactic. Yeah. I could have said that's A minus talk. But I'll just say that's B plus talk if you're good about it.
No, not when you have problems recognizing and when they say ain't A minus.
Well, hey, I mean they played him out of position. They should have. I keep reading that they played him an inside just to get all the best athletes on the field, which means they probably felt he would have been a better weak side, but they didn't because they wanted to have just all their guys in the field.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeffrey Bassa could be one of the steals of the draft here. Yeah, and the fact they had him so high at top 100 tells me a lot about what they can do with him. And again, I think Spags is the real winner of this draft, to be quite honest with you. The amount of weapons they gave him on the defensive side of the ball. I know we got Royals and our potential left tackle of the future, and then the guy we're about to talk about, Brashard Smith. But I think Spags, Spags really won this thing. He won his battle.
And think about that trade out. We got Bassa and Simmons for moving back one pick.
That
is crazy.
Yeah, when you say like that, yeah, it is nuts.
That's crazy.
Bassa and Simmons moving back one.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
That's why V gets to pay the big bucks there. Wheeling and dealing. All right, so our final draft grade and to end our 2025 draft coverage is our Brashard Smith draft pick in the 7th round. Chiefs traded up, trade both 7th round picks, Mr. Relevant and the other mid one we had, to get up in the 7th round to get the running back Brashard Smith from SMU. We talked about him on our show leading up to it. We're like, this is, if we're going to go for a kind of home run hitting guy and wait till day 3, it's either him or Tootin. Tootin went really early. Brashard Smith was there in the 7th round. Chiefs traded up to go get him. Former receiver at Miami, ended up going to play running back at SMU, and his final season there accumulated about 2,000 all-purpose yards, like 18 touchdowns. The guy's the real deal. I mean, the guy, fast as heck, 4.3, 40. Probably the fastest guy on the board when we picked in the 7th round as well. Talk about the speedster running backs. But, the Chiefs end up getting a guy who they can play and have a lot of fun with. A very dynamic back. Obviously, a little rough around the edges. The blocking still needs work, but the Chiefs got themselves a gem in Brashard Smith, and Chiefs Kingdom is very excited about Brashard Smith after looking at his highlights. But, guys, I'd probably give this one an A just based on the value of where we got him and the need for it as well, and the fact that we waited so long to get a running back, and we got this guy, one of the guys we talked about. I would say, for me, A minus, but, I'll go A here.
All right. I'll tell you what, I'm pleased that we got him, and he was still waiting around. Now, obviously, I prefer Tootin, over him, but between those two, I think fits what we do. I think offensively, but he's going to be a special guy for us, man. I'm telling you right now, like his speed, watching him out on film, he go hit his head on the goalpost, and I'm talking about absolutely fly. This guy right here can absolutely fly. And so he may not be as refined in the backfield running the football like as Tootin, but you can see that he does have some vision, and he's learning it. But I think once this guy gets it, he's going to be almost unstoppable. Like he's just going to get better and better and better and better and better the more that you get him. I think he's sitting there. What did he have? Like his total, his output of production over the 1 year was something crazy. I forgot what it was, but I mean, he's a football player. Let me put it that way. This guy knows ball. So 5'9", 194. He's got some size to him, but if you get him in the open field, I think that's where he's going to make people pay. Also, too, we talked about return ability. Marcus, we sitting there, was talking about the things that he can do as well. So that makes him, man, he's a weapon. So having that a capability to return punts, and kickoffs too, man, that's what you want with the type of speed that way. So he'll find a lane, man, and let him just go, let him fly. But I do like this. I'm actually going to give him, because of his value, I thought he might have went up a little bit earlier. I'm actually going to give him a B+. I like him. I like him a lot.
I thought you were going to say A, as you're saying actually.
What? Nah. Hey,
really blew up Ryan Seacrest on that one, JD. I thought you were like building up like as if you were going to give him like a fireworks going off.
Hey, man, you got to come on our show a little bit more on our grading and to come and see me grade people and find out. But getting A's is a hard deal over here with me. Look, I'm a hard grader. No. I know. I just thought when you said I thought I was like, oh, the exception to the rule, and you're like B+. I'm like, oh man, I'm telling you, you need in your grading scale, you need like B+, B++, and like flat B+. You need to have your own grading scale. But that's my measurement. But I'm sitting over saying this is what I have, and we're gonna go with the grading scale. Usually, what we do.
Oh man, that's tough. Man, you're tough.
B+, man. That guy. What else you want? B+.
What else do you want? That's like pretty much like your A is what it is.
Yeah, that's my A- almost. Yeah. Like kids are talking in the hallway, going, man, if you get a B+ in JD's class, you may as well get it. That's other teachers' A's. Yes, it is. Like, shoot, hey, he's a hard grader. You better know when you come in. Hey, I'm not playing around. Look, see, Linda Hunter said JD does not mess around with his grades. Absolutely not. I do not whatsoever. Now I do. I had an A. I gave an A to
two. You had Simmons A, and then Teja talked you into an A- for Royals.
Not yet, Marcus.
No, you did. You said that. You even did that. You're
I might right there. I'm not.
You can't take it back. You can't take it back.
I said we finish up. I'll let y'all know.
Oh man.
So that's the question.
I already called my mom and told you I'm getting an A- in JD's class. You can't do that now.
Yeah, Mrs. Dash, that's not true. I still want to stick with my B+, but he's doing
call my son a liar.
Yeah.
Call my son a liar. You get yourself in trouble, JD. You get yourself in trouble now.
Well, I would say that he's misinformed. I'll say that. It was, miscommunication there.
JD, you kind of mentioned it, but he had his first year as running back, and he nearly eclipsed the 2,000 yard all-purpose yard mark with 18 touchdowns this past year at SMU.
How much was all-purpose?
All-purpose yards. It was nearly 2,000 yards. It was back in 1900 something.
Yeah. See, yes, sir. Love it.
And as a return man, he was second team All ACC as a kick returner in 2023 at University of Miami. So he's got a lot in his bag.
Yeah.
What's amazing too is that he's 22, which is considered, on the older side of a prospect, but only has like 250 carries. So age doesn't matter because he's hardly handled the ball. I love this because of where we got him, because of the need. This is a guy who I've just gone to 3 different websites and they have him at 4th round, 5th round, 4th round. That's a 3-round difference. I'm going A. I'm actually going to go an A. And another reason is because most of the time when you have a project at a position who's so raw, they don't see the field as much because they're going to be a liability when they play. You can't like a project left tackle usually won't see the field for a year because he's got to work to get up there before you can see live. The beauty of him is Smith is that he's so dynamic of what he does that you're going to be able to play him and see his positive impact, even being a project and so raw at running back. And you'll do that because he is a former receiver, or pretty much is a receiver. So he'll play some pass downs, and you'll have him. I think he'll be our kicker and punt returner. That's my guess. It's early prediction. I think he's going to be our return man. I think he's just going to be too dynamic, especially combined with us wanting to get him touches and just get him in the game and get him seeing real live speed. I think that'll be the nice way to cheat him into it. And I think throughout the season, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. We're going to have to just get him touches in space and just find the mismatches. I think Reed's going to have a really fun time drawing up plays for him. And how raw he is at running back is incredible because he actually graded pretty well at some of the metrics of running back, being so raw. I mean, and he's one of those guys, if you look at his negatives, they don't apply to us because we're not going to run in between the tackles. So I don't care if he's not going to hit hard yards and like ground out and tough his way to a couple yards when there shouldn't be. That's not what you have him for, right? Lacks size and mass to churn dirty yards and push the pile. Man, we're not giving him the ball to push the pile. What is this?
I will say, if you look at his highlights, he does have a lot of goal line like touchdowns where he actually does kind of like
he's
tear the
feisty.
pile.
He's tough. He's tough.
Yeah.
He's tough. And his yards after contact were pretty good. At 24 advanced yards after contact, 775, 35th overall. So like they say that's a negative, but then his stats say otherwise. Far too passive and ineffective with his pass protection because he's so light. Okay, we're gonna have him do that often. So I mean, the only real negative is vision anticipation is almost ground level because how new he is to the position. I get that. I think the most carries he'll have in a game is maybe a handful at most, and they'll be like zone reads that he got comfortable with. They gave him a lot of practice in throughout training camp and throughout the season. So I don't think this guy's going to get, behind under center a lot of carries. So I'm not worried about his negatives. I'm not worried about his positives are what we're going to completely exploit. And that's special teams return man ability. That's pass catching ability is elite. He's the best. He was called the best pass catching running back in the draft. An electric open field in second gear and to hit a home run every time he can touch the ball. And that is the main thing we were looking at. If we were going to get a possible 3-down stud for the future, I think we were going to be looking at that in the second or third round. If you want a guy who can just rip it up and just take it to the house when you give him the ball, 7 to 10 touches a game in his prime, 7 to 12 touches a game, your Gibbs, as everyone's looking for, that's this guy. We got him in the 7th round.
Weston Brewster has actually a good player comp. Percy Harvin's actually a really good player comp if they can utilize him like that.
Pretty good, yeah. I saw going today Theo Riddick.
Yeah, he was great receiving back.
Yeah.
Listen, it all sounds good. The thing is, this guy's got to be able to get in the game, and he's got to be some good guys out, to get those carries. Seriously, that's how it works. And so, I think he has the ability to come in. That's why they got him on things that he can do. But he does have to beat Pacheco. He does have to beat, Kareem Hunt. He does have to beat
Eli Mitchell.
Eli Mitchell, yeah. So there's 3 guys that he's had to come in and say, hey, look, I'm coming in to beat you all out. Take some of your jobs. Make sure you dudes are sitting on the bench. What does give him that ability, what gives him kind of that nod is the special teams phenom that he is. That helps him out tremendously. So he'll travel just because of something like that. So the thing is, can you work him in? Can you get him into camp and give him some reps? The rawness, and here's the thing, in the NFL, the difference is the whole breeze. And you got to see it. It ain't true. This ain't SMU. We talking about guys, linebackers and stuff like that will hit you and smack you dead in your mouth. If you don't make the right choice, you're going to find yourself over on the sideline, with your jaw wired up. So,
sure.
That's the whole difference is when you come over here, vision is a huge thing you have to have in the NFL, and patience. So that's what I want to see when he gets up here. So he's going to be one of the guys I'm going to be watching, especially in training camp, to see what his progress looks like. So
I think he'll catch more passes than he has carries this year. I don't think they're going to be in any rush. And the beauty of him is, and why I don't think he has to really beat out those guys, because he does something that those guys don't really excel at. Like
catching the football.
We didn't really replace P. Ryan. It was like an empty slot we have on that team.
Yeah, but P. Ryan did. Yeah, well, there's the one big difference though. P. Ryan does do the blocking, which is one thing that he does not do. So he's replacing one element of P. Ryan's game.
Yeah, because you can't just come in third down and then let somebody smack Patrick Mahomes dead in the mouth and you ain't picking somebody up. You're gonna have to have that. That's why somebody said McKinnon 2.0. No, sir, that ain't McKinnon 2.0. It isn't.
I actually did some research on that because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's McKinnon 2.0." Or he's going to take some time to be McKinnon 2.0, which 100%, because McKinnon wasn't that guy that we saw, that great pass protector that we saw at the when he was with us the last few years. When he came out, he wasn't that guy. He had work to be that guy. So Brashard Smith, as you know, we say he's new to the position. He can become that McKinnon, and hopefully he does become that McKinnon kind of guy that we saw. But right now he's not. He's not that guy.
Yeah, it's going to take some work. That's will or want to, and it takes a lot of reps in practice. It takes a lot of reps from guys that's going to run you over, and it's like, no, you stand right here. You make sure nobody touches the quarterback. That's what you got to do. And so sometimes you get guys like this, might be a little smaller, a little younger like this. He might duck out every once in a while on you. Hey, Brashard, where's Smith at? Hey, get in there. Let's go. Who you got? You got Bolton next. Let's go. Who you think? And so him and Bassa going to see a lot of each other. A lot of each other.
I wish Brashard all the luck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That sucker didn't look like that, man. He looked like an action hero. Shoot.
Who? Bassa?
Bassa, yeah.
I know.
Look, an action figure.
He did.
I think Brashard Smith was our most fun pick of the draft.
For sure, and that's what we said at the post draft show. JD said not many teams could afford the luxury to take him. He had to be in a specific system, a specific fit, and obviously with having Andy Reid as your coach, that you can have some fun with a guy like that.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. Again, like that role we want, and he's a project. No one's saying he's not, right? Obviously, teams thought he was a big time project, or else he would have gone earlier.
For sure.
So he is a project, but if you can find a role for him to at least get him exposure and take advantage of his strengths while he works on his weaknesses, that's a huge plus.
For sure. And here's Ryan Nutt on Brashard Smith.
What do you think he'll need a lot of developmental time to play, at least on offense? I'm not talking about special teams here, but on offense, or do you think he's maybe a guy who's in that respect is more than a 7th round pick?
Yeah. So we had him higher on our board than where we took him. And that's when you start to consider trading. When a guy is there that you have higher on your board, and you feel like, listen, what we would give up is peanuts to compare to what we think we'll get. I think this kid, if he comes in, he hammers the playbook, which is a big feat now. That's not easy. This offense is difficult. I'm sure you guys hear that every year, and it is. But you have a coach who's willing, like our coaches are super excited about the kid, and they will find ways to get this kid on the field, whether it's in a 3rd down role, an all down role, whatever they decide, the kid will play. I don't know if you guys noticed, the kid's been playing running back since like 4 years old. So it's in his blood. Like he's played the position. Now in college, he played receiver and he didn't play a ton. And I remember them talking about this is the next guy up, and it just never happened there at Miami. Rhett Lashley coached him when he was there at Miami and brought him over. And then he tells the story. He was watching Pacheco and the Chiefs and thought, man, I think Brashard could be like this. And hats off to them, man. They moved him. They moved him to the position, and 1 year production, he had 1,300 yards. I mean, that's super impressive. What he can offer on the field is, and I know Kadarius gets kind of beat up sometimes, but when Kadarius had the ball in his hand, his rack and the things he could do with it in terms of his balance and strength and his feet and his feel, this kid has similar ability to that. When he has the ball in his hands, whether it's as a runner or catching the ball, he can do some silly things in terms of what he can set up. So we're really excited. Now, he has to come in and pick everything up, and there has to be a comfort level that he knows what he's doing. But talent-wise, there should be no reason this kid shouldn't help us at some point in the season. And our coaches are going to be very willing and able to work with him to get him into roles that can help us.
I heard that Pacheco story. I don't see it at all. I feel like he's way more elusive than Pacheco. But nonetheless, if Pacheco's the reason why the guy moved on to being a running back, then hey, I'm all for it.
Hey, great.
Kadarius Toney, I do see though. I do see that kind of role for him, a little bit in the backfield, a little screen plays, kind of the way we used him. I could see them utilizing him in that way. I mean, he wasn't back there blocking. He was getting screens from the backfield or jet sweeps or draw plays sometimes. So
yeah, and that's what they was trying to use him as. And matter of fact, he did well back there. I was like, man, that's a hell of a move to move him back there, just to see what he can do. So yeah, that I think they was like, man, this is perfect for what we do. This is perfect for us. So yeah, man, I think, man, like you said, I think he's probably the most exciting, fun guy that we got on a roster to see what he can actually do, to give him some reps and say, hey, man, this guy right here could possibly be a star.
Yep.
We could.
Yeah.
So,
we wanted juice. We got it.
Juice, man. That's what we wanted.
Speed, baby. Speed. All right, guys. Well, that completes our saga, the 2025 NFL Draft saga of the Chief Concerns show from 7 weeks ago prospect shows to our Wednesday night to Saturday night streams, and then tonight our final grade show of the 2025 draft class. We think this is going to be a special one, and it should be. I think all of us are in agreement. All these guys, if we had to make a bet, probably would make the active 2023 at 53. I mean, I think so, and that's all you want from a draft class. So all these guys to make the 53. So yeah, a great draft class and a great saga, and that concludes all of that. So guys, I know we have like 92 people in the chat right now. We maxed out at 120 at one point. But I will say this, Wednesday night, if you are new to the show, we will have a stream on Wednesday night. We do it Mondays and Wednesdays during the off season, and then during the regular season, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then post game shows. But Wednesday night this week, we got a special treat. JD and I will be hosting Chiefs defensive tackle Fabian Lovett for a nice little sit-down interview right on the stream. So definitely come back in 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night for Fabian Lovett.
Yeah.
That does it.
Hey, and Mike Brennan, Jake Bringenstool, we got him as an undrafted free agent. I was going to squeeze him in. Had to. Because somebody asked me who was my favorite signing to that. I said, his guy right here is going to make the team. It's a guy that probably should have been drafted. You're going to hear a whole lot about this guy right here as well. So
I've been talking to his brother online to try to get Brandon Stool on the show. So I'm working on that. I just know they have rookie minicamp like this coming weekend, so they're off heads on that, so which is understandable.
Everything rolls fast, man. From this point on, it is rolling fast. You have no time for anything. I'm telling you. All you want to do when you get finished is you just want to go home. That's it. The least thing I want to do is sit there and talk to anybody about anything. I just want to see the bed. So, but it was good. It was great coverage. Well done, Chief Concerns, Marcus, Tage. Well done, fellas. I think we did a hell of a job. Want to pat our own back, blow toot our own horn. Sometimes we got to do that. It's good, we just, hey man, we just want to let y'all know that we're working for you all. We're working for each other. So we're gonna continue to do that. Come back on Wednesday to come check us out. It should be a great show, great episode. And this is what we're going to be providing probably for the rest of the year, getting guys out here, bringing some different things, especially to this channel. So we're on the move. We're on the move, man. We're on the move. So we're trying to keep an A+ rating on it. Okay. So that's my grade right now for Chief Concerns. It is an A. That's what we're getting, an A+. But with that, man, look, I'm going to say thank you for everybody that came out. Thank you for all your comments, everything that was being said. Appreciate your commentary. Y'all did an amazing job just giving us things to talk about, what y'all was saying on here. We appreciate you so much. I just want to let y'all know that as well. Seriously, that, we wouldn't do it without you guys. Y'all coming out here to come see us. And so we actually just increased our viewership, and we are very humbled by that. Thank you so much. But y'all keep coming out. Tell your family and friends. All right. Hit a like, subscribe, all those different things. Hey, we appreciate it. We love you for all those things. So with that, man, Marcus, Tage, I'm going to go ahead and do this, saying bye to everybody on here. That's another thing that we do on Chiefs Concerns. I'll try to say what's up and thank you personally to each and every one of you guys. All right. So Witchy Hall, Thank you. Good seeing you, Greg. Rose, Lenny the Cool, Sasha, good seeing you as well. Mike Brennan, Nana, Sherry, Linda Hunter, Demetrio Spence. Now, good seeing you, man. Good conversation with you, Drew Brachet, Laurie Zingzer. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it as well. I seen Amanda Brown was in here. Gary Holland, my brother. Gary Holland, Greg Rose. Slamming Sammy Joe. Appreciate it, Slamming Sammy, for the contribution to my guy. And Amanda Brown as well. Didn't want to tell you, thank y'all both for that, man. All love, all love. Appreciate you guys. Weston Brewster. Thank you, Weston Brewster, for your contribution. I seen somebody in here was like A+. Sandman was in here. Who else we got? AATW. He said, I say B, we feel needs, but no one's been on the field talking about grading in 2 years. I got you 2 years, but we're going to talk about just the draft, what we thought they did. They did an amazing job up there with the Chiefs. Okay, I just wanted to say that about the scouting department. Banging job. Well done. Well done. And I think everybody's going to be happy about it. So if you're crying about some other things, you guys you didn't get, it's okay. It's all right. You're going to be happy with what you see, the product that you're going to see out there on the field. Nana Sherry, thank you so much. Who else we got in here? Neff, appreciate it. I know we ain't talking about Green Bay as much, but hey, y'all got some problems up there, up north. A lot of problems. Autodidactic professor, appreciate you with everything that you said and gave to us as well. Who else we got in here? Who else? Rick Hendrickson, good seeing you. Optimistic James, thank you so much. Kenneth Eaton coming in. Appreciate you, Kenneth. Thank you so much, sir, for all of that. I love this, seeing new names. I seen our people from down under came through. Sparkle Sports came through. Say good day to us. Good day to you back. I know it's probably down there pretty early there in Australia. But good seeing you, sir. Let me see who else we got. Try to run through this. Blake Gould. Thank you, Blake, for coming in. Pepe Atreides. Thank you. Say, love me some JD. Love, man. Appreciate you. Love your back. Love your back, man. DeMonte Green Beans, my guy. Appreciate you, sir. G Pick. Thank you so much. Andre Chanel, thank you so much for coming in. Joe E is in the house. Gary Holland. Let me see. Who else? Y'all see anybody? Y'all want anybody y'all need to recognize? Stanley Mooney.
I think you've got everybody.
Tyree Love. Yeah. Justin Blackwell is here too. Pono Kawhi. Pono came in earlier. Pono came in, said what he needed to say, and dipped. Now he probably still there. Pono might still be there. Good seeing you, Pono. I know you hit us quick, Pono. Like, I'm gonna hit the jokers in the mouth.
Yeah.
Questions quick. Justin Blackwell, thank you, sir. Let me see who else said. Hey, listen, I think that's about it. I think it's about it. I think I covered pretty much everybody. Oh, Hannah. Hannah was in here. Can't forget about Hannah. Let me see. I think J1099. Thank you. Appreciate it, J1099. Dunn, you played with one of the greatest undrafted free agents. D. Okay. Huh. I bet I know you. You said that. I wonder who that is. J10, if you're still in there, you tell me who that person is. Huh. That's a good question. Hearts of Roses are here. Jeremy Green as well. Jeremiah De Muertos, True Champ. Good seeing you. Zulu is in the house. Let me see. Who else? I think that's pretty much it. Leonard Hunter. So I know J10 is still here. Lenny the Cool. Listen, thank you so much. Appreciate you all spending our time with us. I know y'all got other things y'all need to do, but I'm glad that y'all enjoyed it. Marcus, Teja Dash brothers, man, listen, love you guys. We're talking to you all like we always do. We stay on it. We stay on it always.
Always.
But everybody else, hey, y'all take care. God bless. We will see you all on Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Yeah. And it should be a good one.
Should be a good one. Bring your questions for Fabian Lovett, second-year defensive tackle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
All right, fellas.
See you, buddy.
y'all.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.